Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Rabbit Hole Ramblings, episode 5 of Conspiracy Corner / Only Cans. I hope you guys are all happy and healthy. I'm back with Nikos, my man, the partner in crime, the partner in conspiracy. How are you, Nikos? You okay?
Very good, my friend. Very good, actually. It's a bit early in the week. I haven't had a chance to get to the supermarket, so I haven't picked up any cans. But I do bring to the table tonight a beautiful bottle of Spanish rosé cava for the occasion.
Nice. I'm on the lemonade with a little touch of something stronger in there.
Oh, good. I was going to say.
You know,
like I said,
that's what we do. What we do.
something just to open the minds up a little bit sometimes.
Literally just had a glass of lemonade without anything in it, and I was like, "Look, what's that? I forgot to put any vodka in."
Water.
Let's fix that. Let's fix that vodka problem, that Son vodka problem. Guys, in the chat, if you're there's 16 people watching. We're hoping that tonight, I doubt, it's interesting. It's a short notice one, but welcome to the show. Please do smash the like button, smash the subscribe. Make sure you say hello. Make sure you say hello. Hopefully, there's an outside chance we might get to 70. If we get to 75 people or more tonight, then we're getting that record going, bro. We're getting that record of keeping the trajectory up strong, and that's what we want to see, mate. Conspiracy theorists unite. Big up to you, Dino. Hope you're okay, my man. Appreciate you, buddy. Big up to you, my buddy John. How are you, mate? So I hope you're feeling better, man. I hope you're feeling better. How you been, John? How you been, Nikos? You spent the week since I last spoke to you doing any conspiracy research, getting your?
Oh, mate, honestly, when you messaged me about half an hour ago saying let's do a show, I was balls deep in a 2-hour episode of something about the Roman Empire and the Pope and Rome and the Vatican, and yeah, I had to pause that to come and do this. So, no, mate, honestly, I love a conspiracy. It's like you said before, it's one of your
guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it's like a guilty pleasure of mine, mate. I just feel like every time, even if it's not all true, I just feel like it's receptive. You know, like at school, I wasn't one of those kids that could take in lots of information. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it sort of, it sparks something in me. I just love it, mate. Honestly, like I know I come across a bit of a know-it-all. I literally just absorb so much in and I love it. I really do. But
you don't come across like a know-it-all at all, mate. You come across like someone who's passionate about what you about your beliefs, and that I think everyone who's here. I imagine there's probably a few people that dial in just to go, what are these two lunatics talking about today? But I think for the most part, most people that are in the chat are open-minded to at least the broader concept that we've been lied to on bigger picture stuff. Whether they go down the same paths as, you and I don't necessarily. So I'm open-minded to everything, by the way. I don't know anything, so I'm not open-minded to any. I'm not closed-minded to anything. But obviously, I think we have different beliefs on certain things. Like I'm not sure you're onto the alien thing, or at least the interplanetary alien stuff. You're more everything's localized, right? Doesn't mean that there's not entities beneath the ground or whatever else, or spiritual entities. But yeah, and I don't know what it is, but certainly I think everybody here is pretty open-minded. So it's a good community to have.
It's the beautiful thing about this particular field of information is that it brings people from all different walks of life, and you haven't got to necessarily agree on everything, but as long as you all kind of have the same motivation of looking for truth, like we said before, people at different levels and believe different things, but what we can all agree on is a lot of what we have been taught and what we have been told is not necessarily true, and that's what I guess brings us all together. But yeah, more the merrier. John,
yeah, 100%, mate. Do you talk about the Pope then?
Yeah.
So two things I want to listen. We're just going to go off on a rant. I've got some videos. If we run dry on conversations, we'll dip into the video vault. But we can just go on a random steer, just a conversation. I'm sure you and I can figure it out on a wave. But have you seen that conspiracy about the fish god Dagon?
Not too familiar. No, I have come across it a few times, but no, it's not something I'm too well versed in, unfortunately.
Right.
No.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. This is the idea. Let me get it up. I think there'll be a lot of screen sharing tonight. So is it on the screen? So I stumbled across this a few years ago and I forgot all about it, right? So Dagon, right, is a theory. The Pope's hat comes from an ancient fish god called Dagon, based on the appearance of the mitre, a type of headgear worn by Catholic bishops and popes, and the description of Dagon as a fish-like deity. I mean, we're going to not worry about when AI comes to dismiss it. Let me show you some. Let me see if the images are there. All right, yeah. So this is the fish god. This is the fish god Dagon, right? And basically, the idea is that I don't know who Dagon is particularly. I need to go. I don't know what religion he's from or whatever. But they're basically saying that the hat of the Pope and the Ark. Can you see it on the screen?
Yeah.
Basically, it's representing the mouth or the body or the scales or something of a fish. And I tell you what, I remembered going into this about 4 or 5 years, maybe longer than that, about 10 years ago. And it took me down some wild rabbit hole where I ended up like looking into the tunnels underneath the Vatican. People that were like conspiracy theorists took tours to show these like tunnels in the Vatican with all these rooms that apparently used to be were like sacrificial or like ceremonial worship. More what they call them. What's the thing? An altar for sacrifices under the tunnels of. Anyway, don't know why I mentioned it, but basically, so you haven't heard of Dagon the fish god, no?
No, but why you've got the picture there? He's got a picture of his hat on. That star that he's got in his hand, that's the staff of Satan. So that thing he's got.
This guy here.
Yeah, the Pope there that's got the hat on the right hand side of your screen there.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, that's the staff of Satan. So, like, if you was to Google the staff of Satan, you'll find that it's an occult symbol that he carries around with him everywhere.
Staff of Satan. This one, the trident thing.
It's not a trident, no. It's kind of like, it looks like a bit of like a fishing rod of some sort. But I have gone down the rabbit hole of the. Let's have a look. I've got the screen on the TV as well, so I can see it bigger. But
who does this one look like, by the way? Not to jump around. Satan summoning his legions is a work of art, right? I think it was made by Donatello or someone. Who does that geezer look like?
That's the Statue of Liberty.
Isn't it, mate? Isn't it the Statue of fucking Liberty? 100%. 100%. The Statue of Liberty is anything but. It's the Statue of Control, right? This geezer looks a hell of a lot like this geezer, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty was put there in like 1886, or it was to commemorate like I think 100 years of the like US being founded or whatever, the revolution in America. But it's actually it's a representation of the freedom of Lucifer being let out of his 1,000-year hole. That's why the chains that are at his feet, I think I mentioned it before. The chains are broken.
Yeah.
So it's like a visual representation of the light bearer, Lucifer, which is why he's holding a torch. Looking over the city skyline of New York.
Interesting. The first thing that people saw when they got off the Mayflower ferry or whatever it was, the ship that would come across some island, was a giant statue saying, "Yeah, you ain't free here. This isn't the stat. This isn't God's country. This is someone else's country."
Nah, there's a lot of darkness, mate, in all the symbology, unfortunately, and all of the statues. But yeah, that one in particular, I think we can both agree that that's a representation of Lucifer that they put out for everybody to see and passed it off as something completely different, more positive. But yeah, it's again one of those little nods they do to each other. They like these little nods.
Yeah, 100%. Let me say so to some people that are coming to the show. Big up to you, Johnny. Good to see you, James. Spurs King, my man. How are you, buddy? Scott Spur, big up to you. 3 for all, 77. International break. Plenty of rabbit hole ramblings. You're back just like David Icke on YouTube. Is David Icke back on YouTube?
Mate, I said this to someone the other day, right? I think I mentioned it on one of the shows we did at the weekend. Eric Dubay was like the most censored conspiracy theorist in the world, bar none. Maybe bar David Icke, I think, and maybe Alex Jones. But he's been uploading content on his YouTube channel for the last like 2 or 3 months, like quite regularly. And I find it quite surprising. Yeah, I find it quite surprising because obviously he, was being censored, so there's no point in him doing it, like uploading anything. But
and is it getting reach though?
Big reach. I think he's got to like 300,000 followers now on his channel. Like he's, like the father of, the flat earth in this modern generation, So people like David Icke, they must be getting some traction. And, one thing I'm noticing is there's not so much censorship around these particular subjects, which is why this is such a beautiful channel. Because, there's obviously a thirst for it.
Just imagine if we can get up to like 10,000 subs or something, mate. I mean, amazing.
mate. I think if you
big
make
old
a video,
audience, a big old audience for this shit, you know.
yeah, you got to make it digestible. I think so. Like after some of these shows, you need to edit some of it down into like smaller little portions about particular subjects, so people can sort of bounce around a little bit rather than listen to me and you battle on for hours. You know, in
Yeah.
one sort of.
In order to make that make sense, though, we'd need to like do just a few topics rather than 30 seconds on one, and then my ADHD kicks in and goes, "Oh, wait a minute, we just spoke about Nazi Germany. Now let's pivot across to something else." You know?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like we said the other day, it'd be good for us to do like a particular subject. You know, people that you bring onto the channel, we can sort of pick a particular subject, let them talk about it for 5 minutes, and then they'll throw our sort of ideas onto whatever they've said, and it'll cut in perfectly to a nice monetization friendly 10-minute video. You know.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. Florence, Mrs. Marple, big up to you. I know you've been messaging me in the comment section on Spurs Talk Show saying, when is your stream going to be live? I need to know. I put it out there in all the places I could put it out there, Mrs. Florence Marple. Good to see you. Good to see you, Danny Field. Future's bright, always here. Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Right, listen, mate. I want to ask you a bit of a tough question to get you out to get us off and running.
Go on.
I watched who's that geezer with the beard who made hundreds of millions of dollars blowing up on Instagram, shagging beautiful birds and gambling. He's like an absolute
Dan Lizaran or whatever his name is.
Dan something. Yeah, Dan. What's his name?
Dan
Bizru.
Lizaran. I think he was a poker player as well, wasn't he? I think
poker player. Yeah, big poker player. Can't think of his name. Anyway, I recently saw his interview about Nazi Germany. I'm not going to ask you if you think that the Holocaust was nonsense, because that sort of thing's going to get us in trouble.
You should. I've got an opinion.
Well, if you want to go there, you can. Like, obviously, listen, I'm in the Tottenham community, mate, and there's a hell of a lot of sort of Jewish guys, so I don't want to offend anyone. But I wanted to ask you whether the Nazi story generally, because we could go into a million different paths with Hitler, right? Like his occultism, well into the occult thing, which I'd like to get more into. But do you think that the way that the history books was written was exactly or as close to the truth as it actually happened, or do you think it was a wild step away from how? I'm not talking about the Holocaust part, but the rest of the story as well.
It's funny you brought it up, actually, because I actually sent a voice note to Eugene on Sunday morning, nice and early, and it was only like a 3 or 4 minute voice note, but somehow I managed to slip in Hitler, Nazi Germany, UFO, and Holocaust in about a 4 minute voice note. And it wasn't my intention at all, but no, I do have a strong opinion on it. But I've actually been to Auschwitz twice, and I've been there twice, and a lot of people don't know like what it actually is like there. They used to have like a swimming pool there. They had a big canteen there. It was like a
holiday camp.
Yeah, like a club, you know, like one of these sports clubs, like, you know, where the guy in England
before it was turned into a concentration camp.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was necessarily a concentration camp. I think it was just like maybe malnutrition, people died, and a lot of stuff like that. But when I actually went there, I noticed a lot of like inconsistencies in what I thought I knew about it, because I went there with an idea and a perception from what I was taught as a like younger man, and I was finding wooden doors on gas chambers. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, that doesn't make sense at all, you know. Like, and then you start, you know, they've got all these, again, just inconsistencies that I picked up from just that one first visitation. So I had to go back again with a bit more of an open mind. And when I went back the second time, it kind of all made a bit more sense. But no, to answer your question, I don't necessarily believe what they taught us about, you know, Nazi Germany in particular is correct. What I mentioned to Eugene in the voice note the other day is they've actually done new translations of a lot of Hitler's speeches, a lot of his public speeches that he done. Like,
I've heard them as well. They've AI dubbed it into an English-speaking voice, right? Or an American.
Yeah, exactly. They've done like proper translations, and not in any of the ones I've watched, and I've watched hours of them. You know, like, I've not heard him like single out the Jewish community in any way, shape, or form. What he was actually against was the oppression of the German people that were being strangled by the Rothschild financiers in Germany, who were crashing their currency.
The reparations in World War One, right?
Exactly. Yeah. What he was actually doing is he actually froze the Rothschild Bank in Germany, which is one of the reasons why he was actually, you know, manhunted, if you like, to a certain degree. But the word his story is his story, and the victors always write their story.
That's true. That
Yeah.
is
So
true. I imagine in like 50 years' time that people will like the history books will reflect on Donald Trump as being an insurrectionist, someone who tried to stage a coup, a raging racist, just a horrible person. And anyone that supported him was like supporting, like, the Nazis in Nazi Germany. And that's one way of looking at him, right? And it's one sort of story that the liberal media want to sort of have everyone believe. But when you've seen the way that he's been, and listen, I'm not going to get into whether people should love him or hate him, because the guy's obviously a bit of a donut. But in terms of a president looking after American people's interests, I was in America in 2016 when he was elected, right? And I think that he will get represented a way that won't necessarily be fair, and I think that that's probably the story throughout history. I think that everybody, like the people that decide the future, also get to control the narrative of the past.
yeah, I've always been on the fence with Donald Trump. I must say, I know a lot of people in the communities I run in, that he's like the savior, but I'm still on the fence. There's a lot of things that he does that give me red flags. I have this saying, looking out for the shit salesman. There's too many red flags with him. I
Oh
do
yeah,
hope
for
to
sure.
think. I do hope to think there's a saving grace out there in the power of politics, but in my mind, you don't get to rise to these powerful positions without being in one of these powerful families. Definitely not against them. So, I saw the other day he actually he won a lawsuit against two big news companies in America, NBC and ABC, I think it was, and he's about to sue the BBC in the UK. So
Yeah,
two
yeah.
of
Because
these
that's the thing. The BBC, like, I mean, like, just look at that as a prime example. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not they think that he meant that he was guilty of insurrection anyway, and that therefore the ends justify the means. The reality is that they spliced that clip up to make him look like he was saying like what it looked like he said. They went out their way to do it, and that's supposed to be an impartial organization. But we all know how disgusting the BBC has been over the years, right?
Yeah,
With the digital thing and everything else.
the company that actually made the documentary was called October something, and it was on Panorama. But the
Yeah,
BBC, obviously, is one of their main shows. Panorama is one of the main shows that's been around. It's meant to be like one of the exposés sort of shows, that tells people what's really going on and stuff. And it's just kind of ironic that they've been caught red-handed editing one of the most powerful figures in the world's speeches to fit a narrative that we've kind of come to find out wasn't necessarily the case, So, yeah, they're going to be. I think the lawsuit he's going to put against the BBC is $100 billion, which is quite a vast
no,
amount of money.
I think he said it. He said he's sent a letter saying, "I need a full and unreserved apology. I need a clarification on the purpose or something, and I need reparations for the damage to my reputation. And if none of those things come, I'll sue you for I think he said $1 billion. The trouble is that in the UK you can't sue someone for like it's lost earnings. Right? There's not a court in the UK in the land that will pay someone $1 billion. Maybe in America, and the BBC is just as big in America as it is in the UK. So.
It's worldwide.
But yeah, to me,
Worldwide.
like the BBC has lost all its credibility a long time before
Yeah,
this
long time ago.
particular instance.
Yeah, I just think it's quite funny, that he's making an example out of these people that are running these news outlets that we're coming to find out are been telling a lot of porcupines. But yes, yeah. On the subject of Trump, I was in America in 2016 as well. I remember seeing all the rallies and stuff like that, and like most people, I was very much drawn to him. But yeah, just his allegiance to Israel in particular, I just find it very concerning. He talks about America first, but it
It's
doesn't
not
seem
Israel
like.
first. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's to do with the AIPAC lobbying in America. Most of the politicians are paid by Israel.
It'd be hard pushed to find an American politician that isn't on some level under the control of Israel, right? Like did you see that? Did you see that before the mayor election when the Madani or whatever his name is, the Muslim fellow who won in New York, there was like.
Oh.
Sorry, I dropped out there for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Someone's listening. Someone's cutting out. Someone's not liking what I'm saying.
Yeah, you mentioned the I word.
Yeah. No, it's on the on that mayor election. They asked all the different for the New York thing. They asked all of the 8 or something like 8 different candidates who what would be their first overseas trip. Right, their first overseas trip should they win, which is a really weird question. Like, why would and we got Eugene's in the house. Big up to Eugene. Hello, mate. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. We're just talking about your neck of the woods, mate, not California, but we're talking about the mayor election I'm talking about the mayor election in New York. So they asked like the 7 or 8 candidates, if you win, what will be your first overseas jolly, basically, which is a strange question. Like, you're the mayor of New York. Why do you need to go anywhere? Just fucking get on with the job, right? Fix the problems in the streets of New York. And all 7 of them, apart from the guy who won, all 7 of them said unreservedly, and they all went to one up each other on their relationship with Israel. But the first guy went, yeah, I'll go to Israel 100%. The next guy was like, yeah, me too. I've been there 7 times already in the last 5 years. The next guy goes, well, I'm going to take my son to Jerusalem for his bar mitzvah. And I'm like, oh, sorry, is it like a competition to see how up Israel's arse you can be? Like, what are we doing here? You know?
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a common thing, but like, I don't have any opinion either way against the people from there. I'm just saying, it seems to be a little bit concerning that everyone seems to have some sort of type of relationship with them.
So here's what happens.
Politicians.
So when a new congressman or woman,
you're mute, Eugene. You're mute.
Oh.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, you're not. You're fine. I can hear you.
Oh, I can't hear.
Go, you can't hear.
Selective hearing, Nikos.
No, I can't hear.
You can't hear Nikos. Sorry, you can't hear Eugene.
No.
What the fuck? How can that be possible?
How
can you hear me but you can't hear Eugene?
I can see his lips moving, but I can't hear him. No, I can't hear him.
Drop out, Nikos, and come back in. See if it resets it. That's so random. Eugene, wow. Can everyone hear? You can hear Eugene? Everyone can hear Eugene apart from Nikos. That's so weird. That is so random.
We're being sabotaged. WEF in the house.
The sabotage happening.
So so what happens usually when a new congressman gets sworn in, or a woman, they get can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now, Eugene. Nice to talk to you, mate. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you, man. So they get a visit from AIPAC rep. AIPAC is the Israeli lobby. And they say, oh, welcome to Congress. Here, by the way, here's a all expenses paid trip to Israel for your whole family for like 3 weeks. And so most of them go because it's all like, it's a vacation. It's great. And then during the vacation, they pitch them certain things. So the AIPAC builds a relationship with every congressperson from the very beginning. So when they come back, they're, they have that relationship. And AIPAC, a lot of them are Mossad or, whoever. So
yeah,
that's what happens.
Listen, I don't have any relationship.
I'm against all that. I'm Jewish from Ukraine, but I'm against sending Israel or Ukraine money because we have our own issues, and supporting foreign countries is crazy to me.
It just feels like a huge conflict of interest on behalf of the American people. Like, I've been watching this go on for decades. And it just always seems to be like that's a common theme with these politicians.
And what's interesting is every lobby that lobbies on behalf of a foreign government has to register as a foreign agent, but AIPAC does not, because AIPAC members will say, well, we're Jewish, but we're lobbying for our interests in America.
A lot of them have
on the other hand, a lot of it is tied to Israel. So
a lot of them have got dual citizenship, I think, right?
Some do, yeah. Some do.
Yeah, I remember seeing some video on Instagram about that all of the members of the board of Pfizer, like the chief medical officer, the CEO, and the people on the board on the health department or whatever of the government, and they were calling out all the names and every single one of them was like a dual citizen of both America and Israel and stuff. You know,
Congress, in the Senate, go through most of the Senate. Most of the Senate have dual citizenship with Israel.
Yeah.
Not
Whereas in
most,
the
but a lot.
UK, three-quarters of our government's cabinet are part of the Fabian Society. You know, which is
Yeah.
wolf in
It's a
sheep's
lot.
clothing. I think we spoke about this last time, didn't we? Like they're socialists, champagne socialists.
Marxist, yeah. It's one thing being part of a society. It's another thing having dual citizenship of a country that's half a world away. Seems to be a little bit.
Did you see the thing that was on Britain's Good Morning Britain this morning? So my dad lives in Wapping in London, which is in Tower Hamlets, which is like the actual council is like that. The area generally is E1, so it's very, very Bangladeshi. Like there's a massive Bangladeshi community there, and apparently two of the councillors on the council of the Tower Hamlets Council. So they're getting paid a full-time wage to be councillors in the UK. They've also stood for election, and it's okay for them to do that, and they can win and get paid and do their time for councils in Bangladesh. How the fuck is that okay? I don't care what I never care what color you are, what race you are, who you worship. I don't care about any of that shit. What I do care though is that if you're paid by our government to work in our government of some degree, spend your time working on our country.
Yeah, especially if it's taxpayer money as well. If it's taxpayer money, then there definitely needs to be a certain amount of accountability doing that. But this is a common thing all over the world. This is a common thing. These.
But think about it.
representatives.
Why would anybody run for office, right? Because the salaries are pretty small compared to private business. So those people are not very talented. They're egomaniacs, right? They want power, and they know they're going to make money on the back end.
100%.
Corruption, right? So whether it's Nancy Pelosi, who has a better trading record than Warren Buffett,
Anybody.
right?
Yeah.
Like Obama has multiple houses in Martha's Vineyard, so they get paid a couple of like $500,000 a year, but they all leave having hundreds of millions. So they're not talented, they're not bright, they just want power, and they know corruption exists. So whether they get paid by APAC or by Qatar or by China, right? Most people in Congress in the US are getting money from somebody. Or Wall Street, right? It's like when they leave, Obama gets 500 grand per speech, right, from Citibank. And the WikiLeaks showed when he was running for office, Citibank gave him a list of who to put on his cabinet. And now when he left office, now they're paying him for every speech. Same thing with Clinton and Clinton Foundation. So it's not just Israel and APAC.
The Clinton Foundation shut down. The Clinton Foundation basically, as soon as she lost, she had something like, was it like $1 billion or something that was inside her Clinton Foundation charitable trust? And then as soon as, and it was all like, the vice president of Taiwan or the vice president of some Mozambique or somewhere, and they put 500 grand into her charitable trust, and no one ever knew why, right? Obviously it was for some favor, some sort of gimme, some sort of, contract or whatever in that country. But as soon as she lost to Donald Trump, within about 2 weeks, all of the money dried up. No one was going to give her any more money because she was irrelevant to them in that period. And then the whole foundation got shut down about 5 weeks later.
I think it was going to be investigated because remember I said I think on the last shows that what happened in Haiti was there's like lots of children went missing. The Clinton Foundation was one of the foundations that actually supplied a lot of the relief. So I think they kind of preempted the fact that they were probably going to get investigated. So I think rather than, waiting for that moment, they kind of preempted the fact that that's probably going to be the case, and they shut a lot of these things down. But a lot of those charitable foundations are scams. They're run by rich people just to keep tax.
The craziest example was Hunter Biden, right? First, he was on the board of the energy company in Ukraine while he knows nothing about energy or anything else. And then he was selling his paintings for $500,000 a piece. And he is not a great painter. So it's like, why would you want a Hunter Biden original in your house? I mean, it's crazy,
It's
right?
the reason why the reason why they do with paintings is because it's an easy way of moving money between
exactly subjective.
Yeah,
The
so
value.
like
It's a tax write-off as well, right?
it's
So
a
like,
tax write-off, but they've been doing it with. There's so many of them. I'll get some examples for one of the next shows. I haven't got it off the top of my head, but there's so many of them that become famous painters and they sell artworks to rich people. I think Oprah Winfrey bought something for 2 million and sold it for like 23 million, like 3 years later. It's like where they're circling their money around. The same way he was talking about how the Mag 7 moved their money between each other. I think the artwork is a way that these dodgy people.
Well, it's more than that, right? If you're a billionaire, or if you're just a very wealthy individual, you could ask someone, commission someone to give them 25 grand to draw a piece of art, then get one of your mates who's an independent art valuation expert, to value the art at $10 million, and then you can donate it to an art gallery somewhere, and then write down $10 million on your annual profits.
Exactly.
Like, it's the easiest fucking scam in the book, because you're right, Eugene. Art is the valuation is subjective, but you still need to get somebody who is an art valuation expert to be able to appraise it. Yeah, in that level.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you did me a favor, Sean, if you're in the government and you did me a favor, you can paint a painting, and I can give you 500 grand for it, and nobody can tell me that it's money laundering, right? It's like, hey, I just value this painting, and that's what I'm willing to pay. So it's so transparent. It's crazy.
That's a big scam. I was into art a lot when I was younger. Architectural design was something I was into. I went to college for art and stuff. I could never figure out why these really shit paintings worth so much money. But as you get older, you realize, it's some sort of type of money laundering program that they use between the rich people, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Just speaking about that, you mentioned I've got that video that talks a little bit about Nancy Pelosi. There's a thing on Instagram that you can follow called Pelosi Stock Trader. Check this out. For those of you that are watching at home, check this out.
Look at how many members of Congress outperformed him, and not by 5%, not by 6 or 7 or 10, by 40, 50, 60, 70, up to 149% annual returns. Warren Buffett has been doing this for 60 years. He's never had 149% year. He's never had 105%. He's never. And meanwhile, we have half a dozen members of Congress buying stocks on their cell phones sporadically, outperforming the best year in the history of the best investor who's ever lived. It's like, we don't need Murder, She Wrote to crack this thing open. Clearly, they are cheating this thing.
Yeah.
Eugene should pull those QQQ calls that he's got out there and put them on a copy trade for anything that Nancy Pelosi does. I think there's AI programs these days that we can do copy trading for anyone that does like a registered portfolio. You can copy trade them. So just go and do whatever she's doing.
Why don't you tell me not to buy QQQ or Tesla? Come on, boys.
How is your QQQ doing, Eugene?
Not great. Option is expiring this Friday, so we'll see. There's still time.
Leave it. Trust me, leave it.
There's still time for me to make my money back on Tesla and QQQ. So we'll see.
Leave it. I promise you.
Tesla will be fine, mate. Tesla will be fine. I mean, Tesla are going through a bit of a rough week, but they'll be absolutely fine. Don't worry about that.
End of the week. That's when my option expires.
Okay. Well, yeah, then you probably.
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be fun. Well,
it'll be fun. Friday.
I'm gonna lose.
I want to show you this one because I think we haven't spoken about this before, right? I'd like to. I don't know if this is probably going to get us completely shut down, shadow banned. But this one I want to. Yeah, Eugene, give your disclaimer now, right?
Hey, the views of this channel does not represent my views. I'm neither a financial advisor nor not a conspiracy. What's the word?
Theorist.
Exactly. I'm just here for fun. So, WF people, Mossad, I'm on your side.
I was retired financial advisor. I was registered with the FSA for about 13 years. So technically I do have a financial background in trading, and also we're regulated by the Financial Services of London. But the views on this show are just mine. I don't have any connection with that.
All right, 100%. Here we go, Sean. Go on. Now we're all good.
What's a conspiracy theory that you 1,000% believe in? I'll go.
The conspiracy behind Wayfair.
So I remember when this first was going on, a lot of people were all up in the air about it. Some people believed it, some people didn't believe it, and I happen to be one of those people that really didn't believe it. I thought there was no way that this huge corporation would use their website and certain items and certain coupon codes to possibly sex traffic kids. So I really never thought too much into it until one day something happened that actually changed my mind. So this happened about a year ago. So I work for a pretty well-known bank, and I remember we would always have this older lady come in, and anytime she came in, she would always do a cash deposit and immediately do a wire transfer. So one day I got a chance to help her, and I remember she did the cash deposit, which was like $13,000, all in cash, and immediately wanted to do a wire transfer. So when I started to help her, I remember the account number was written down on like a small piece of paper and the amount. So she was sending about 12,900 and like whatever cents to this account number. So I got to the part where I needed to type in who it was going to, and she told me it was going to Wayfair. And at first I really didn't think too much into it because she did have a business account, and I figured, well, maybe she's buying new furniture for her office or whatever. So after we were done, I started to go through her previous wire transactions just to see where all these other wires were going that she did prior. And they were all going to Wayfair. There was like 6 or 7 different wires that she was doing in the past like 60 days. And that's when I changed my mind. I knew that there was no way that this person that is always doing cash deposits and immediately doing a wire transfer afterwards to Wayfair, sending them thousands of dollars in 2 months, was buying furniture. There was no way. And I remember shortly after I reported the account, just for like secondary review or whatever. And next thing I know, she never comes in again. I never see her again, ever.
So, do you know about the Wayfair conspiracy, Eugene?
No, but that's kind of something is going on, but that's a big leap from furniture to sex trafficking. I mean, I'm sure maybe there's some other scam. It doesn't have to be, but
No, there's the leap that we can close the gap. Nikos, you know the story, right? You want to tell the story?
Basically, Wayfair has been advertising children on their website for the last 8 years, and they hide it's like a cryptic. You have to like know the code. But for example, there'll be like a sofa or a chest of drawers or a cabinet that's going for like 13,000 euros, and it's just like something you'd buy from IKEA, but it's called Sophie 14 or Jennifer 8 or Joel 6, and there's so many examples you can find online now that actually correlate that there's lots of people buying these very expensive basic IKEA looking furnitures for tens of thousands of dollars. And a lot of it is shipped to America through a shipping company called Evergreen.
I mean,
so so what they would do, or what the conspiracy theory says, right, is, as you can see on the screen here, there'll be some random like piece of like shitty furniture like that kind of tin locker there that you can see on the far left of that picture, and the name will be Samir 5, and it won't be like shelf storage capacity, blah blah, $13,000, right? $13,000. And then people were going, "What the fuck?" And there was like Nikos is right saying there's one for Lucy, there's one for Tom, there's one for all these random names of kids, and then there would be a product code, and it would be like 7X923184 exclamation point whatever, a product code. And what people did, I remember looking into it at the time, and it was legit. You take the code and you search for it in the Yandex search engine. So I think Yandex is the Russian version of Google, I think. And if you put that code into the search engine on Yandex, and then you went to images, there would be a picture of, say, in this scenario here, for example, that girl Samia, and the code that you put on, just the code, nothing else. You just grab the code from Yandex, you put it into thing, and there'd be a picture, Google Images, and it'll be on some dark web website or whatever with like an .onion address. And it would be that picture of her. And then they would go back and look at the missing children's reports and find that girl, Samia, there was a missing children report for her from Canada, for example. And so, and they then went and did the same thing with all of these others. and they took the code for the next one and Tom or whatever, and they put it in, and there was a kid called Tom in the Yandex image results that was relating just to that code, and then they would go and search in the missing persons reports with a reverse image ID, and they would find the picture of the kid, and he was a missing kid under the name of Tom. And there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things. And everyone, and Yandex, what's his name, came out, Wayfair came out and said, this is ridiculous. The only reason they're priced that much is because it's a pricing error, it's a rounding error, it's a mistake, and or they're incredibly rare items. But the items were pieces of shit, like rubbish wooden cabinets that would cost £100 at most if you were buying them from any legitimate place, any normal place.
The thing that makes it credible as well, sorry to cut you there, is that these items were always being sold. So like if you went onto a website and you saw something for 13,000 euros that was a IKEA furniture, no one's buying it because it's 13,000 euros for a cabinet. But the thing that made it more credible, these things wouldn't stay up for very long. So like these things would be sold and there'd be destinations. And like I said, Evergreen Shipping Company, which was also quite funny enough, the name of the law firm that Hillary Clinton actually worked for when she was a lawyer, it was Evergreen.
And it was the name of the ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal that caused an almighty
trade stop.
They tried to do that. They tried to do like a U-turn in the Suez Canal, and the fucking ship got stuck halfway. And I was pissed myself laughing. If it wasn't for the fact that it made the price of oil skyrocket, which triggered a whole bunch of other financial implications, which made them these, like, people made a fucking fortune out of it. But that Evergreen ship, it was like, have you seen Austin Powers when he's trying to do a reverse turn in the it was Evergreen time doing that down the Suez Canal. Absolutely fucking hilarious.
They moved, you know, these shipping containers is how they move these children. The
Wait,
children
hold on.
moved on
So, Sean, sorry, Nikos. So you guys saw this yourself, the pictures in Yandex?
I legit,
in Yandex?
as soon as it happened, I legit grabbed one of the codes or two of the codes and put it in, and the when you went to the images, there was a bunch of just pictures of young children.
Yeah,
it wasn't young children like, you know, strapped up or beaten up or any. It was just pictures of girls. I didn't go the next step to go and do the reverse image search and see if they were missing children, but everybody that was on that conspiracy at the time was saying that they took it one. But I got no idea if it's true or not. But it is a wild one that just sort of got brushed under the carpet. It just got brushed under the carpet of no. It's just these QAnon donuts, you know.
Yeah, I checked the Yandex actually. I went as far as actually checking the Yandex and like double checking it for myself because I didn't believe it at first. It was so like when you first come across this stuff, it's so unbelievable how all this stuff, you know, goes back. But what makes it even more interesting, the further you go back, they actually used to do this on the side of milk cartons. So I don't know if you ever remember the missing children on the side of milk cartons they used to do in the 1980s. There used to be phone numbers on the side of the milk cartons, and that was another way they used to advertise these children. That's what got me when I looked into that was the one that really hit home for me. You know, when I looked into that, 'cause I remember when I was a kid, there was always like, oh, you'll end up on the side of a milk carton. My dad used to say it to me. He's like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. You'll end up on the side of a milk carton, you know. But that was, yeah, they've been doing this for a long time. But Wayfair was, yeah, one of the more modern ones with the internet. And yeah, I've gone through the whole process of looking for items that are like grossly overpriced, double searching them. You know, obviously you use the name of the item as a kind of a key. Like it's like, okay, if something's called Jocelyn, you know, or something with like a number behind it, and it's like you can tell what the value of a storage unit is, or a bed frame or a cabinet. You know, it's like 100 quid, 200 quid, 300 quid, 400 quid, you know, whatever. But $13,000, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, that's a very dark conspiracy hole, Sean. You're probably gonna get closed down for this one.
100%. But like I say, this is all for entertainment purposes only. It's just theatre. None of the opinions expressed by anybody are representation of anybody's opinions. It's all just it's all a joke, guys. It's all just entertainment. That's all we're doing here. Right?
Sick, mate. Is what it is. I tell you, it's sick, mate. It makes me sick to my stomach as a father. It makes me sick to my stomach that stuff like this actually goes on. But unfortunately, the reality of the situation is this stuff does happen, and it's been happening for too long of a time.
But the question is, like, when Wayfair, it's the same thing as, you know, back in the old days, you could go to a pizza place and you can order like white pie and you get Coke with your pizza. Maybe, you know, it's some dudes like
Yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
it's Wayfair's
100%.
policy. It's just some people potentially, allegedly. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know.
When I lived in New York, there was a bodega on the bottom of First Avenue or Ninth Avenue, right? And I went in there one day, and I think I was at the back of the shop just looking at drinks or whatever, and this homeless guy walked in, this black geezer, and he went straight to the counter, and I saw him go in, and then as soon as the shopkeep saw him, he went over here, just grabbed something, and then put it on the table for the guy, and the guy put down his $5. I think he was getting like either a spliff or like a crack smoke, whatever, like something. And I was like curious, and the guy looked up and saw me. He thought the shop was empty by him. He saw me and just looked at me, and then sort of gave me the wink. And I just was like, yeah, I winked and sort of walked out. And then I was curious because I was drunk and probably wanted to get. I didn't know what it was that he bought, but I probably wanted some. But I was like, "What?" I was like, "Hi, mate. Yeah, I was at the back of the thing a minute ago. Whatever you got in, what's going on? What's going on?" And he suddenly, like, he thought I was a cop. Then I was like, "Mate, I'm not a cop. Listen to my accent. I'm from England, right? I'm in New York. I live here. I'm just saying, I'm cool, bro. I just want to know what's going on. Is this a thing? Because I didn't know, you know. And sometimes when my dealer's not around, like,
Mate, I've got the wildest memory of that.
He wouldn't tell me anything. He wouldn't tell me anything, the bastard.
In New York, I went on a business trip to New York a long time ago now, but 10 years ago, something like this. And as you do, you're out there, party weekend, 4 days, out there on business, no expense spared, mate. You know, you go and you put a call in, you're like, who do I call? And I'm with somebody actually from upstate New York, from Westchester. So he knows it quite well. He's familiar with, you know, a lot of New York, whatever. And he says, "Oh, you're going to these bars and whatever, and you ask the DJ. That's how you get your Charlie, you know." I'm like, "All right, well, let me go and speak to the DJ then." So I walked up to the DJ, "Get me a few grams of Charlie." "Yeah, okay, mate. How many do you want?" Like, blah, blah, blah. Going to the toilet. I'm like, "Okay, yeah, okay." So going to the toilet, the bouncers come in from outside the front door. They turn up, they give me my Charlie. And anyway, get on my night, have a great night, as you would do, you know. And I'm missing 1 gram of Charlie. And for the next 5 days I'm in New York, I'm like, I've lost 1 gram of Charlie. Those hookers must have taken that gram of Charlie off the bus, you know. I'm sure they did. And I get to JFK Airport, open my passport page just as I'm leaving New York, and out falls 1 gram of Charlie. I'm like, oh my! Right in front of like the
right in front of the passport control.
As you're putting your luggage on the conveyor belt, I managed to catch it in my hand, palm it. I'm like, oh my fucking god! Like, and obviously, like JFK Airport is like one of the most like.
Yeah, you'd be at Rikers Island by the end of the evening.
I was like, what do I do? What do I do? So
a man like you, Nikos, a man like you would get passed around like a packet of cigarettes.
Yeah, mate. The last place you want to be stuck is anywhere in New York in a jail, mate. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, do I throw it in the bin or whatever? So I've gone to the toilet, like with my friend, like the guy I was with, and he's like, I'll do it now. I'll do the whole gram now. I was like, go on then, mate. give him there in the toilet, just because like, as you go through like the before you go through the TSA, there's like a couple of toilets between the passport thing and the check, you know, like mate, done the whole gram of Charlie right there in the toilet in front of me. But mate, honestly, New York's wild. If you go for a party weekend, like New York used to be wild.
Can't think of anything worse than sitting on a plane having done a line of gear.
A gram.
It'd be the worst thing in the world to be on a plane. You're stuck in a seat for 5 hours and you're jittery and the drip's coming down your throat. Like the worst thing in the world, mate. That'd be like torture. Torture to be on a plane high.
He didn't stop talking on my own. I was watching a movie. He wouldn't stop fucking talking.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Yeah.
If any of my family watches, I apologise. I was young, I was dumb, and I was single, you know?
Listen, I'm not apologising for any of my mistakes, mate. Because you know what? If you've made mistakes in your life, there's no point in having regrets. Because if you're relatively happy with where you're at in life, then every single decision that you made, good or bad, got you to where you are, right? So there's no point in having regrets. Because
funny enough, that's the first time I've shared that story with anybody in all the years.
You've shared it with hopefully about 1,000 people by the end of the week.
The internet get to watch it over and over again and hear me make a prat of myself. But
I'm gonna get a paranoid text from you later on this evening. Sure, can you cut that like last 5 minutes out, please?
Nah. Just lesson learned, mate. If you go to New York, don't put Charlie in your passport.
No, 100%. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Wayfair.
I wanted to. I mean, the Wayfair thing. I think we've sort of covered briefly. I've got no idea if there's any truth to it or not. But I don't know if you want to. This one's about 2 minutes long, right? But this is just an embarrassment. This video shows you guys how ridiculous politics is. Okay, I want to preface this. The guy that I think it might say it, but if you're watching it on a phone, you might not be able to read it. There's a guy who was on the Economic Council, under the Biden administration. Okay. So this guy's supposed to be an expert, an economist, someone that's an expert, a master of finance. He understands how debt works. And then watch him get cornered later on in an interview where he's asked a very simple question and see how embarrassing his inability to do it is. And then you know why the people that are in power are all puppets. They're all fake experts that are just, they've sucked the right dick and they've kissed the right ass to climb the ladder, because there's no chance that this guy could have been on that level of economic importance and influence if he can't answer the question that you'll see in the video. It's absolutely insane. Watch this.
An old friend who's been with me a long time, a brilliant thinker.
White House economic advisor Jared Bernstein joins us now from the White House.
Thanks so much. The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Since they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to let's see. They print money and they use that money to. They sell bonds. They borrow. I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Because it's like the government clearly prints money, does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
We were always asking ourselves the question, do conventional economists understand what we're speaking of, but yet not talking about it? Or is it that they actually don't understand?
Wait, was that a real video?
That's a legit video. It's recorded from a TV. That's a legit video. That guy was the economic advisor on the Joe Biden government.
Mate, honestly, I could do a better job. Whatever it is that he does, I'm pretty sure for the 500 grand he gets a year, I could do a better job. Like, basically, the Federal Reserve in America prints money. It gives the money to the banks. The banks, they do a thing called reserve lending. Is it fiscal reserve lending? Fiscal reserve no. Basically they can hold 10% of their balance book on their of assets, but the rest of it can be leveraged out. Fractional reserve lending. Reserve lending. So the way that they make their money is the interest.
The way that debt works is that the government writes the bonds, and then the bond markets are buying those bonds, pension companies, those sorts of things, and they charge an interest for it. It's very simple. That's the reason why there's always more debt than there is money in circulation. But the fact that geezer can't even explain how it works, like the printing of money comes from the writing of bonds that gets bought by the bond market, which are usually, pension funds are the biggest buyers of it, and private bankers. It is insane that the economic advisor of the Joe Biden government can't explain that very basic concept. It's fucking mental.
What a lot of people don't understand is like the Federal Reserve is a private company. It's not, there's nothing federal about it. It's a private company lending money to the government at an interest rate, who then pass it on to their banks, and their banks lend it out at a higher rate to the consumers. And then there's like a triple effect of interest that comes down from printing money out of fresh air. And that's the same thing that's happening in, like in the last video, in crypto. But right now there's like interest that you can make back off of like holding your stable coin in certain wallets. There's certain like programs where you can hold it for a period of time and you receive an interest APR back off of it. But mate, the whole system.
When you see some of that, some of those APRs that you can get in crypto that has that weird thing, double deficit reserve or whatever it's called, where the price of the two stable coins can just dislocate for a second and it can wipe out your entire APR. That shit is so fucking fake. It's so corrupt. And the fact of the matter is that CBDCs are going to be entirely based on stable coins. It's a disaster waiting to happen. It's going to be an absolute chaos when that thing goes tits up.
I had one about in 2020 when I was just new into crypto. There was a 12-year lockup with I think 14,000% APR. I was like, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. I'll throw 100 quid into that, mate. Within about a week, it's all gone.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. It's a scam. It's just a way of
like high APR things in cryptocurrencies are just absolute nonsense.
Yeah. You have to learn. Unfortunately, with crypto, you have to learn your lesson. Unfortunately, I think a lot of the way of actually like practical learning in crypto, you know, because it's such a new like field.
If you want to play in crypto, it's more difficult enough learning. If you're not familiar with it, it's difficult enough learning what, I don't know, Ethereum's value proposition is. Like, learn that shit. Spend your time learning those sorts of things. Tokenization. I've got a tokenization video, which I'll drop in a minute, which is fascinating. But when you get into the world of financial tokens in crypto, where they're doing that double reserve split, that stuff is for like experts upon experts. Like, experts in finance need to take expert courses from experts in crypto to understand that shit. That is not for the novice in any way, shape, or form. Anybody that's fucking around in that world, they're just idiots if they don't understand it. And 99% of people will never understand that stuff because it's so ridiculously niche. There are people out there that can do it and they can know how to manipulate it and obviously can figure out the high value APRs and stuff. But for the average person, it's absolute bollocks.
What crypto is right now is, you know, as you said before in previous videos, they are going to put us on a digital financial program. And right now it's the trick to crypto is finding those foundations, the fundamental foundations for this new system. That's what the trick to crypto is. So I think there's 50,000 crypto companies or more with all the meme coins these days. But if you can find those 3 or 4 winners that will be a staple in the foundations and fundamentals of this new system, you know, that's where the winners are going to be. You know, people can speculate to the hills on what those coins will be. But yeah, unfortunately, everything will be, you know, tokenized. Everything will be a real world tokenization. There's companies out there that you probably know yourself that, you know, will probably be at the forefront of it, but none of us actually know the answers until it actually happens.
Funny enough, I've got a video here about CBDCs. This is that Swedish bird who was the head of the European Bank, and she's saying,
what's her name?
CBDCs are about to come in. Watch this for a second and then we'll come back to it.
Hello. I have good news for you on the digital euro front. Today, the Governing Council has decided to move ahead on the next and final phase of the preparatory work for the digital euro. The other good news is that on October 23rd, the European Council has asked us and all those involved to accelerate the process so that we can roll out the digital euro as early as possible. This is important because as much as banknotes will continue to circulate, we want cash to be in the form of digital euro as well, so that you can circulate banknotes and click cash with the digital euro. More work is going to be done in the next few months, and if we receive the approval by the European Parliament in the course of 26, we'll be able to pilot the digital euro as of 27. And if the pilot is conclusive and positive, it will be a formal rollout in the whole of Europe in 2029. This is a big project because the euro is our currency, your currency. It brings us together, It's a symbol of trust in our common destiny. So off we go with the digital euro in that next and final phase of the preparation.
This is nuts. Like, I'm not a financial expert, but anybody with any brain cells, how can they think this is a good idea? They can just shut you off, right? If you say something they disagree with you, that's it. You have no money in your bank account, or it's like it's crazy.
They present it like it's good news. It's a wonderful thing. Like, no, not one person has ever explained to me, other than international transaction times being shorter, which is not really a problem anyway. The world has survived for 100 years or 80 years with credit cards and that sort of shit that don't require, you know, actually, how long, I don't know, 50 years, whatever, that don't require, like the world doesn't shut down because of international settlement periods. And yet they're making out like it's settled science that it's a benefit to everybody. The only people it's of benefit to is the government, because there's no ability to avoid tax scams or to participate in tax scams anymore. But then you're also sacrificing all of your privacy.
The real benefit for them is right now, you said their settlement times. Anything on the SWIFT system can be between 7 and 21 working days. So there's not an instant settlement program anywhere on the SWIFT system. So what they want with this digital payment program is the instant settlements. So like, I don't know, like obviously you worked in big financial, and have you ever waited for a client to send you money and it's taken like 10 days or 15 days from somewhere else in the world, and there's like an 8% failure rate of the transfer coming through? You know, like that was a big part.
I think in the area I was in, you used the standard settlement period was 3 days.
Yeah,
but then if people wanted T20, which is essentially a month, 4 working weeks, then they pay a fee for the ride.
So basically, for the benefit of moving it in 3 days, I think the standard 10,000 transfer would be something like £50 to £75. And if you wanted it on the longer program, which was the T20 or T21, that was a £25 to £50 transfer. But the problem these guys have got right now, and the reason why this system is, you know, imperative to what they want to do, is that they want this on an instant basis.
No, so I get that for them. I get it for them, right? 100%. So then let them fucking move to digital. Why does the average guy in the street who wants to buy a cup of coffee from Starbucks?
It's no benefit to us. The only benefit is if you're a business owner and you're moving money internationally. That's the only real benefit I can find. So there's obviously incentives for them, you know, in terms of like instant settlements, but the slippage rate of 8% is a problem too. Like, if you know how much the SWIFT system moves on an annual basis, an 8% slippage rate is a lot of money that ends up going back.
So the average person who's getting paid PAYE, who works for someone else, and who just goes on holiday, sends their kids to school, buys their food from whatever supermarket. There is absolutely no benefit to digital currencies, none at all. Only sacrificing of your privacy and the ability for a tyrannical government to deem your behaviour to be unacceptable, and then you'll be punished, you know, and all these things. And digital ID is the first step into that direction, but it's an inevitability. If you want to know what your world is going to be like tomorrow, look at China today. The only thing I would say, I do remember seeing an influencer, some guy who travels the world, going to China, and he was talking to some girl on the street or something and said, "Is it safe in this neighborhood?" And the girl just laughed and went, "Safe? This is China. Yeah, it's safe. Because there's fucking cameras everywhere that recognizes your face." And so, you know, it probably would eradicate knife crime. It probably would eradicate, you know, theft and all that sort of stuff. It's just simple. But then, like,
you think that
Dubai doesn't have central bank and digital currencies yet, and nobody steals in Dubai because everybody knows that there's a zero tolerance from the police, and the police will just throw you in a fucking horrible jail cell in the sweltering heat. And so nobody, like, you don't really need to go into that digital world to that degree to provide safety. The only reason that the West has become so unsafe is because of, I think, a deliberate plan to deprioritize certain things to enable problems to rise up, so that the solutions to the problems that don't need to exist can be offered, and those problems are always taking away the good person's freedom.
Yeah, I had the privilege of living in Dubai and London, You know, I've got the comparison in my head. You know, like I lived in Dubai for about a year, just over a year. Like I think it was like 14 months or something. This is as it's developing, you know, about 10, 12 years ago, something like this. And I actually put it to the test myself because I didn't believe it. I left a wallet with money on it on a beach bar counter, like in a pub on the beach, you know, like in one of these open zones where you're allowed to consume alcohol and stuff like this. And I tested it. I was like, I don't believe it. I don't believe that someone's not going to take my wallet and it's going to, you know, I'm going to lose this 50 quid or whatever. I'm going to lose this Louis Vuitton wallet. I actually left it there, come back the next day, and the guy said, oh, yeah, someone handed it in. And I was like, if this was London, if someone would take the money, take the wallet, and you would never see that again. And then, like, in comparison to London these days, I think you're caught on camera just as much time in central London as you are in China. But the people committing the crimes have got savvy to the fact they're on camera and they cover their face up with a mask. Obviously, COVID helped them with that. And there's also these glasses that you can buy on the internet. They're like sunglasses, but they basically don't pick up facial recognition on because of the type of lenses they've got in the glasses. But yeah,
criminals are always one step ahead, right?
Always,
before there was a murder, there was no crime against murder. Before there was a theft, there was no crime against theft. So the law is always one step behind the activity.
Scandalous, mate. Unfortunately, the world we live in today is a lot different than the world we remember when we were kids. Unfortunately,
but it depends what law. I'm sure just the local police department, yes. But if you talk about the intelligence agencies, they got some tech that nobody knows about. So I don't care how many pairs of those sunglasses you wear, I'm sure they're gonna get you.
Well, the main focus of facial recognition is the eyes. So if you like, most of the facial recognition cameras they have out there in operation today is focused around the eyes. So if you can find a way of blurring the eyes or reflecting the lens, that's, you know, it counteracts the majority of the cameras. So I'm sure, you know, as you probably know from your research, Eugene, you know, there's the army and the militaries have technology that's probably between 30 and 40 years more advanced than what we currently have today. They hand us back technology.
Yep, exactly.
This is what I said to you the other day about the UFOs in Nazi Germany. You know, Nazi Germany, I think, were handed back aerial technology, which is why there was a scramble between the US and Russia for Operation Paperclip to get back those scientists, because they was handed back the technology. You know, and every country maybe gets a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that. You know, it's just there's technology that exists that's far exceeds what the public have. And it's just a case of when we get it back and what stage do we get it back. But the government generally have it 30 or 40 years before the public hear anything like it. So God knows what they've got now. God knows.
Yeah, I mean, aliens, mate.
Aliens. Always aliens.
Always aliens, bro. The aliens are actually. I was watching this Y-Files video that I think it was a couple of years ago, and it was about that there was like a war underground in one of the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, and that a bunch of aliens basically kicked off, and there's a bit of a scrap. And I think like loads of the army went down there with their AKs or whatever else to try to do their bits, and like half of them got chopped up, and it was a bit of a mess, apparently a bloody mess. So they ended up with some sort of settlement program whereby they basically said that, and I think that according to the story at least, that the guy and his fish mate spoke about, that they were the reptilians and the guy and the greys. And they basically said that they struck a deal where basically they would be given technology that would help advance their own systems, but as a compromise, they had to hand over human beings for experimentation and for various things like impregnation and things like that, to try to get the reptilian race into human civilization. I fell asleep before, because it's always what I watch when I'm going to sleep. I fell asleep before I got to know whether or not the guy who does the show thinks it was true. But I wanted to ask you this question, right? We talk about like baby sacrifice and child trafficking that might be like used for sacrificing for ceremonial stuff. All that shit definitely goes on. How rife it is, who's doing it, don't know. But there's definitely some people somewhere in the world that get involved in that shit, right? If it ever came out that aliens had risen up, genuine, legitimate, hypothetical, philosophical, moral question here. If it ever came, in fact, I think there was a movie about this. It was like a shit scary movie, but in a nutshell, there was 6 people that were like lured to some house, and they were all strangers, and they got to this house, and then one by one they were killed in like horrific ways by these monsters, and then the 2 people that survived tried to escape, and they couldn't, and eventually one of them survives and goes and finds his way into like the mechanics, this underground thing, and it was basically it was human beings behind the whole thing, and the story basically said that they have this deal where every year these aliens or these powers that be that live under the ground get to play this game where 6 victims, six people are sacrificed to these gods or these aliens, whatever, that feed off of the negative energy. And if they don't do it, if those 6 people don't die every single year, then the powers that be under the ground will rise up and will kill humanity. And so my question is, I know it's a little bit far-fetched and hypothetical, but my question is, if it was true that the governments had conversations with aliens or some sort of spiritual beings, and they basically said, we'll wipe out humanity unless you give us X amount of child sacrifices, X amount of like sacrificial beings every day or every year to satisfy whatever it is that we need, and in so doing we'll also give you technology that can keep you one step ahead of and give you the life that you want, but you have to give us that, and if you don't do that, then we'll cut on that. But if those were the terms, are they acceptable terms, Eugene? Again, opinions are not your own. It's fine. It's fine.
The 2 examples you're talking about there was a guy called Phil Snyder. He had his hand shot off by a laser fight with aliens. Phil Snyder was the guy that said what you just said there. But also there's a base just in New Mexico. I think it's just off of the Colorado border called Dulce Base in New Mexico. And there apparently has been an agreement with the race of aliens, whatever. And that they've come to an agreement where they were allowed to abduct a certain amount of cattle and people on the proviso they put them back with the alien race.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm going to say is, go ahead, Nico. Sorry.
I was going to say it's quite well documented from 2 different sources, but Phil Snyder in particular is one that actually has done big seminars on it, and he's got this really like, take my strong hand. You know, he's got one of those. You know, like his fingers have been blown off, and he says that they've been blown off by a laser gun and stuff like that come from extraterrestrial weapons. And I don't know. I think there's something to it. What Sean just said there, the question he asked and what he posed there was that, is there some sort of type of agreement? And I think there is some sort of type of understanding between whatever they are and whatever we are, that we will let you do this if you let us do this. I think there is definitely something like that going on.
I don't know. I'm just going to answer it in a way where the governments have done more for less. So
yeah, that's
they've
true.
done more evil stuff than this for way less, less stakes than the survival of the mankind. So I would not be shocked.
I think that's the first thing we agree on. I think that's the first thing we agreed on.
Here you go. Here's the thing. Look at the search site I put in there. Movie about people who were killed at a house by monsters to keep the world safe from underground. And AI figured it out for me. The movie you are thinking of is The Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
This 2012 horror comedy subverts the typical tropes of the genre by revealing a large conspiracy behind the gruesome events. 5 college kids vacation at a remote cabin where they're picked off one by zombie-looking redneck torture family creatures. Unbeknownst to them, the entire facility is run by a corporation filled with scientists and technicians who are secretly orchestrating the horrors. The elaborate murder scenarios are part of an annual human sacrifice ritual that is performed around the world to appease ancient, cruel, subterranean deities known as the Ancient Ones. If the ritual fails, the world will end. See, I knew I wasn't imagining it. That's exactly the pitch that I'm talking about. if that was the pitch that you were given, you would do it, right, Eugene? You would do it. You said that the governments of the world have done far less for far more, right?
I mean,
the problem is it's come from Hollywood. The problem is when that comes out from Hollywood, it's again someone's feeding you a narrative that subconsciously sits in your brain. Like it doesn't make it true.
So Phil Schneider had his hand lasered off, didn't he, by alien lasers? Yeah.
Yeah, whoever that is, Sonny there, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, he done. I think he died actually in the 1990s. I think, if I remember rightly. But yeah, Phil Schneider, he's documented in doing seminars, and he shows his hand, and his hand's all deformed. He's missing 3 fingers, I think. These 3, I think, something like this. Right. But yeah, he claims that he was shot by some crazy gun. And there was 13 or 14 servicemen that all were died, and they killed some aliens or whatever was underground. But because the Dulce base itself goes down 14 or 15 levels, it's all security clearance all the way down, so that the aliens couldn't get out, and the humans didn't want to get into fight. So they come to an agreement where we let you do this, we let you do that. But yeah, there's I think the Phil Schneider documentaries, I think they're still probably on the internet, with what we said earlier on about some of this sort of information being resurfaced. I would definitely recommend people that are interested in that to look into Phil Schneider.
And I would also recommend going and watching the movie The Cabin in the Woods. It's a weird one, but it was good fun. I enjoyed it. Should we roll the dice on another video, guys?
Yes, sir.
Good.
This one's actually hilarious, right? Talking about this is a bit of a political show. Politicians acting up. Look at the state of this bird. She's clearly coked off her chops in an interview. Watch this.
Look at Georgia Maloney. Look. God damn, caught a fat ass drip right off the bat. Ooh, another drip. Somebody get her a Marble Menthol ASAP. Struggling for a cigarette. Look. God damn. Fuck it, line me up, Georgia.
I bet you any money right now, she marries Elon Musk. How about that?
Hey, no Elon slander on the stream.
No,
I didn't slander him. That's not. Well, she looks like a cokehead, but yeah, I bet you any money she turns out to be some weird AI robot experiment that's run in Italy, and yeah, he marries her and probably has robot kids or something with her.
100%. Talking about robot kids. How about a robot wank? Look at this.
A few moments later.
That's hilarious.
They are coming, literally and metaphorically. They are coming very soon. Those things are going to be.
It's Westworld style stuff. Hey, that I'm just saying.
Listen, population's already at the point of collapsing. Like the Western whites, they just give up. Just go and get yourself a robot girl like that, and enjoy the last few years you have. The world's fucked anyway.
Just get on Tinder, have a good time, enjoy yourself, have a few beers. Just don't worry about it, mate. Population is collapsing, like you said. Like I don't know if you know in the population rates in Europe, but mate, they've been declining for the last 20, 30 years.
In Asia, in Japan, it's peak.
Yeah. And Korea.
The thing is, in Asia, they used to have a rule, like you can only have one child. They made it quite blatant, like they're controlling the population. But in like Europe in particular, there was no like set rule on how many kids you can have. But people have just naturally come to the conclusion that one kid's too expensive,
Yeah.
Well, listen, I not that I'm in any situation where I'd have children, but if I was, I'm not sure I'd want one, to be honest. I feel like the world is moving in such a horrible place at such a horrible speed. I don't know what children are going to be like. The next generation. Like Eugene, I'm not sure if have you got kids, Nikos? Sorry, I know Nikos, you have. Eugene, you've got kids as well, right? So, I mean, like, what jobs are they going to do by the time they get to 20 years old, right? Well, AI is going to have replaced everything. It's going to be very difficult to find a vocation where you can earn a crust when that can't be done better by AI. Scary.
It's gonna be interesting. Universal basic income, but I don't know.
As a father, I'm raising my son to be a Spartan. He's 4 years old, mate. He's in Taekwondo. He's going to learn a lot from me from conspiracies and stuff. And I'm going to raise him to be the chosen one. I should have called him Neo, but no, it's a scary world to raise children, but when I become a father, I was in my 30s. And I thought, if I'm ever going to have kids, it's now, so I made the brave decision that we take on the world together or we die alone, stoner, so we decided to take the world.
Yeah.
Hence why we do these shows, Sean. Hence why we do the research, is because we want to be so informed that this information doesn't go to waste. There's no point in knowing all this stuff and then no one knowing about it. You might as well share it with the world, but hopefully you share it with a legacy, which is your children.
I don't know, man.
Hopefully one day. I wish that for you.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. The more you know,
100%.
Like imagine if you would know the secrets of the universe, or for 1,000% about aliens or a conspiracy, but nobody believes you. So you'd go crazy. You'd go insane. You are the only person who knows the truth, but nobody believes you, and you just sit there. What's the point, right? Like in you knowing.
Exactly.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that video of Joe Rogan with that floppy-haired astrophysicist from Manchester University when he was talking about travel to another galaxy or another star system, and he said, "Here's the kicker, right?" He said, "Technically, theoretically, it is possible to be able to conceive in a certain amount of time with a certain amount of technological upgrades that you could." Leave in a rocket ship and get up to the just below the speed of light, the universal speed limit as far as we know it. You could go to another star system, technically, feasibly, in a couple of seconds. You could be there in a couple of minutes, like that. You could be you could be at the Gemini star system or the Sagittarius or whatever else. He goes, you go and check it out. You want to come back and you tell the story. And the problem is that it might have only been a half an hour or a day trip for you, but because of the way that time and space works, by the time you get back, 1 million years would have passed on planet Earth. He goes, so unfortunately, there will be nobody there when you get back that will remember that you've left to be able to validate your story. So you might be able to go and see the secrets of the universe, but it's a secret you have to keep to yourself. Quite interesting.
This is one of my topics, actually. When I earmarked a couple of topics for us to talk about in a bit more in depth. But have you ever come across the story of Coral Castle in Florida?
No.
It's a place called, is it Homestead? I think it is. A guy called Edward Leeds Kalin or something. He's a guy from Latvia. But basically, he figured out the levitation of stones, limestone, and he built a castle. He built these 1,000, I think it was 1,200 limestone ton blocks. He figured out the Egyptian pyramid secrets. And the sad thing about his story is he figured it out when he was in his 20s. He moved from Latvia to America, and he built this castle in a memorial to his sweet 16 who left him at the altar the day before his wedding. And this guy basically built this castle. I won't go too much of a spoiler because I'll save it for a later date. But he built this basically unimaginable castle on his own. He was 5 foot tall. He had all these diseases, but he'd done it all with figuring out the secrets of the pyramids, is from his own words, as he figured it out. And he had no kids, he had no love, he had no wife. He died alone on a bicycle in these limestone castles that he built. But it's still there to this day. But
How big was it?
Sorry, what was the question?
How big was the castle?
It worked out. It was 1,200 limestone tons. But he put it on a ley line. He put it on a ley line in just south of Miami in Florida. It's known as Coral Castle, but I think it also is known as Rockgate Park. I think it's a landmark. It's known as the Stonehenge of America. But the correlation between what you said there is that basically this guy figured out the secrets to the universe, if you like, and he had no one to give it to. He died alone, and even to this day, it's a mystery how he built that castle on his own. They say that he figured out the the way of levitating rocks like helium balloons with harmonic frequency.
Yeah, it's the frequency. Same thing
yeah.
that they did with the pyramids. Because I think now they've, I wouldn't say they proved it, but they can now tell that it was built for certain frequencies. Yeah.
Think about this
Pretty
guy.
crazy.
He was like 100 pounds. He was 5
Never heard
foot.
of it before.
He had cirrhosis and tuberculosis. But he basically was left at the altar by his to-be bride from Latvia, decided to emigrate to America. And as a tribute to her, he built this amazing architecture that's still there to this day. It actually has an obelisk in the middle of it, funny enough. But yeah,
That one. Is it on the screen?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like a bit of a cock, doesn't it, with that sort of side lean? You know?
What he used to do, he used to only work. He only used to work at night. So there's eyewitness reports that this guy basically was like credited with moving these blocks at night alone, and he was again 5 foot, 100 pounds. But some of these stones are like 26 tons. I think the biggest stone is 26 tons.
Yeah.
So I think Ancient Aliens or one of those History Channel documentaries covered it. I think many years ago, but it's fascinating.
They say, could it be aliens? And the answer is always yes. It's always aliens. That's what we do here. You know, if you remember, Nikos, on the first shows we ever did back on Sean Butler TV, I titled them, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. It's always aliens.
I have no problems with aliens, right? I have no problems with aliens. I think there's something that lives here on this earth. It just ain't coming in from a rocket from 36 billion light years away. You know, whatever it is that's here is here. It's already been here, and it's been here for a long fucking time. It's probably been here before.
Did it come here eventually? Did it come here previously from somewhere else?
Just think about it, right? Just give me 2 seconds. Think about it. Why would they come here from 36 billion light years away to come and secretly try and like manipulate the human population? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
they're here. Whatever it is that's here is here. It's probably something under the ground, whether it be Anunnakis or reptilians or ant people or whatever it is. It's already been here. It's been here long before we are, and it's probably going to be here long after we are. You know, that makes the most sense from like a critical mind point of view, and it would explain some of this alien stuff. But just why would somebody or anything fly in secretly and be all
shits and giggles? Why not? If you can.
Here's the deal. So here's the situation.
Go on. Enlighten me. I'm ready.
There we go. Before you speak, Eugene, I just want to say, whatever Eugene's about to say, I am not attached to these opinions. They are his own.
And I don't agree with it either. Whatever he's about to say, I probably don't agree with.
No kids, no trafficking. It's all fun and games with me. No, the Project Stargate, right? Jack, whatever his name is, McMonagle, the original Project Stargate viewer. He remote viewed Mars 1 million years ago, right? That was one of the tasks. So he saw humanoids hiding underground, right? So, and right now, when the probes are flying over Mars, they're saying they did have atmosphere before. There are signs of life. So the same whatever humanoids or aliens, right? It makes sense that they would need to find an alternate planet to live on. So they could be like 1 million years ago, 1 billion years ago, but they could have been on Earth for a long time. And also, what's related is that the moon is also an artificial.
The moon is definitely fake as fuck.
Yeah,
the moon
and
definitely
it's there to terraform the Earth. So the beings from Mars that lived on Mars, their atmosphere was gone because I think they had like nuclear wars or whatever.
I think they come from a moon on Saturn.
And now they're here, but they've been here for millions of years. Although they're different types, right? There's interdimensional beings, then there are aliens, then there's a whole bunch of stuff. But
I randomly last night got stuck on a rabbit hole towards. I'm with you, man. I know Nikos is 100% anti-space. I am 100% into the space thing. I think the space is.
I'm with you.
I think that Saturn is the center of everything. I've said it 1,000 times. Saturn, the rings, the moons over there. I think that's a frequency that's getting pushed onto, and the moon is then using it as like an amplifier, and we're getting like this cloud that is the shit that we're engaging with.
Have you looked at them through a telescope? Have either of you looked at any of these planets through a telescope? I have. Have you?
No.
They ain't physical bodies. I'm telling you right now. They're not physical bodies.
They don't have to be.
No, they're not. They don't have to be anything. I'm telling you right now. I've looked at them through
telescopes. They don't
telescopes.
have to be. I don't care what it is or what it isn't. I'm convinced that Saturn, whatever it is massively involved in.
Mate, the previous civilizations to this Earth, the hope is, the Indian civilizations, go back as many thousand years as you like. They used to call it the umbrella in the sky. It's lights. It's some sort of type of wandering stars that move around. There is no credible evidence anywhere ever that proves that these are physical bodies. But Elon Musk has got a fucking Tesla probably driving around on it, right now, that's showing people for 55 million quid a day that these are physical bodies, mate. It is a scam, an absolute scam. So I don't think there's any evidence you can give me that will tell me otherwise.
But that's the problem. That's the problem, Nikos. That's the problem, right? There is no evidence that you can get that will tell you otherwise. But when people that have gone through the breaking of their own barrier, like you have, right, where you realize that the world is being lied to you, and you get frustrated with the people that are still at stage one, that aren't questioning anything, that believe the bullshit. They believe and they tell you that you're a crackpot lunatic, and they think that everyone that's watching is a crackpot lunatic, right? And they might be right, they might be wrong. I think they're wrong, but they are entrenched in their worldview. But the same thing happens on the other side. You are now entirely entrenched in your worldview to the point where you said there is no evidence that I would see that would convince me other than what I believe. So, like, can you see the similarities?
Yeah, I get it. But are we here for the truth or are we here for stories?
Well, you don't know what the truth is.
That's what I'm asking you. Are we here for the truth or are we here for science fiction fantasies?
Well, how do you know it's science fiction fantasies?
Because common sense tells me that it's the mathematical probabilities that it's science fiction fantasies, just by doing extensive research in every single way that I can. Because I have the same question.
If you spend a lot of time listening to people that are also like, you have to play devil's advocate and realize that there's also people on the other side of the coin, like the Eric Dubays, like that geezer, the Flat Earth Dave or whatever his name is. That guy, he sells an app, right? That's got the Flat Earth clock or whatever it is on it. Like, everybody's got a motivation to try to monetize, to try to make their passion their thing. And so if you spend all day long looking at one thing that's not the consensus in the scientific narrative, and you go, I don't buy any of that bollocks, and I understand why you wouldn't. I understand why I feel the same, that we've been lied to on many different things. But then if you go and spend all day long listening to other people, they are not going to also give you the truth. They're going to cherry pick their science to fit their narrative as well.
Wait, 40 years ago, Mars was a chocolate bar.
I'm not sure how to take that one.
Tell me I'm wrong. All we've got is a shit salesman who's pretending he's sending fucking cars into space.
Wait, start again. Mars was a chocolate bar.
Like, the only thing that existed 40 years ago that was called Mars was a fucking massive chocolate bar. And now this chocolate bar is about half the size of my dick.
The chocolate bar was called Mars because of the Roman god Mars that was the planet.
But the point being... Wait, let me finish. The point I'm trying to make is the information you have got, what is Mars, is sold to you by what I claim to be a shit salesman, who's actually a good salesman for Tesla cars. The only information that you have got that tells you that there's a civilization that can exist on some imaginary light in the sky is Elon Musk.
It doesn't
make sense.
The Mars name.
No, but he's like pushed this narrative. He's pushed this narrative that is somewhere habitable where we can escape from Earth, and like it just pushes you further away from God. But the point being is, when I'm like going back to my nan's age, like when like the 60s, 70s, 80s, all they had was mythological gods, wandering stars, and chocolate bars. And all of a sudden, we've got rovers driving around driving
Eugene,
around four wheels,
I'll be back
controlled
in
by
2
remote
minutes.
control.
Eugene, you got to handle this one. I've got to go and get another drink. I've got to get another
Well,
drink.
the War of the Worlds, right? The Martians. I mean, that was way before. That was
Mate, it's a
decades
movie.
later.
It's a fucking movie by
Well,
Hollywood.
yeah, but I'm saying the concept was there for centuries and centuries. Not, you know.
No, yeah, all I'm saying is like Hollywood has created a narrative for a lot of people of our generation based on the movies and productions they produce, and they've done a good job. Mars Attacks, all this stuff. I get it. Like, I understand why people would think there's some sort of type of world out there where maybe we can go and live that's an alternate world. But what it does, it takes you away from grand design. It takes you away from the creator of this beautiful place we live. And our parents or our grandparents, they wasn't given any of this kind of information. Unless science has figured out some crazy secrets that we didn't have 50, 60 years ago, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense from a critical point of view that there's some guy called Elon Musk from South Africa who's getting trillions of dollars a year, is driving a fucking go-kart up there with an RC controller and taking videos and sending it back to everybody. The guy is getting fucking tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a day to provide you with entertainment. And that is my opinion on it. So again, until I can see some sort of type of actual credible information otherwise, I'm a skeptic that any of this stuff is actually even remotely possible.
But the issue is, Nicholas, my thing is you cannot use critical thinking and common sense and Occam's razor when it comes to science, because a lot of it or most of it is
science.
No, but otherwise it wouldn't be science. Like a lot of it, like quantum mechanics,
it's
like
not science, mate. It's science fiction. You're getting confused. Science is testable, repeatable, observable. That is the definition of science. Testable, repeatable, observable. That is the definition of science in the dictionary. There is nothing observable, repeatable, or testable by what they're talking about Mars. I get it. We've been sold a fantasy. I get it. I completely understand where like a lot of people come from. But you have to understand the definition, the literal definition of science. If you do me a favor, Sean, pull up do me a favor, put up Wikipedia, the definition of science.
I've got
just
it.
Do me one favor.
I've already got it in front of me. I just looked it up.
Don't trust Wikipedia.
Just put it up, and it makes sense when you read it. Just when you read it, you go, "Oh yeah." Just read that 2 paragraphs.
The systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation, experimentation, and the testing of theories against the evidence obtained.
You're welcome.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean you're welcome? What does that mean?
Well, can you test it? Is it observable? And is there?
Why do you assume that the study of the planets or whatever they are is not testable?
Because you're taking someone's word for it. You're taking someone's word for it that all of that there, the definition of science is actually science.
If I went to astrology classes, or if I went to university and studied that stuff, I would also understand the theory of being able to look at. So what you're saying is anything that you can't see and touch with your own eyes is therefore fake and doesn't exist.
Like
you can't see oxygen.
Well, if you go to a doctor,
if you can't see oxygen, but it fills your lungs, right?
The point being is anything that is scientific falls under that specific definition, and Mars does not fall under that definition, nor does any other planet. Because it doesn't. Have you observed it? Have you been able to experiment it? Have you tested on it?
It's massive, right? They can measure the gravity, they can measure the rotation.
I haven't personally been to Mars. I haven't personally got a telescope. I wouldn't even know what I'm looking for. But that doesn't mean that I can't. That doesn't mean that I can't learn how to do it. I just don't know how to do it.
So let me get this right. So the only guy in the whole world that has been able to prove it by observing it, experiencing it, and testing it is a guy, a billion trillionaire from South Africa that gets government funded from America.
What do you mean Elon Musk is the only guy that's been able to observe Mars? What do you mean?
No, like mate, it's more than observing it. It's being able to observe the reactions. It's someone that can test it. Someone that can actually go and do experiments and the observing of it is like being able to see the results of an experiment. That's what observing means. So like the only person in this whole fucking world.
No, but what do you mean the only person in this whole fucking world has observed Mars? What are you talking about? That's not Elon Musk. Elon Musk is just someone that's who listens to who uses the science, whatever, to be able to foresee that is a planet that would be potentially.
Mate, I get this feeling I've crossed the line. I've got this
No,
feeling.
no, you haven't. I'm trying to understand. Like, you're saying things like it's like you're saying it like it's science, Nikos. Like it's your science, but it's not science.
Eugene said it was science. I'm telling you right now is that the only person that's been able to go to Mars and prove and observe and test it is Elon Musk.
Elon Musk hasn't gone to Mars. No one's gone to Mars.
He's got a rover on it. He's got a fucking rover on it, hasn't he?
But he hasn't been there.
No, he ain't. And I'll tell you right now, he never will go there. There's some place somewhere out there where he's got his little electric car. But anyway,
the pyramids.
We're getting too far away from the point. I don't want to get into too much of it.
If you look at in Turkey, the Göbekli Tepe and Mayan pyramids, even back then, they knew the constellation and the planets, right? Like we've known about the planets forever. And it's provable because they can look at the mass, at the distance, they can measure the gravitational pull. And that's why they can measure galaxies outside of,
right.
I mean, and the same technology that we have is based on physics and math, right? So the same concepts are used to predict certain things, and planets have been known about for thousands of years.
Like they were known in the Bible and all ancient texts as wandering stars. That's all they were. They were wandering lights in the sky. There is no
why are the ancient texts more? By the way, Nikos, if you know me from Tottenham, mate, you know I debate people all the time. So please don't. When you say I'm overstepping, you're not.
I'm trying to find my corner. I'm just finding my corner.
No, that's great. It's great. It's awesome. It's awesome. But like I like this is good. It's good. It's not. It's nothing wrong with it at all. I enjoy but I'm trying to challenge the narrative that I don't really understand when you say, unless it's kind of observable, like people that are into science. Now, if you want to go down the path of every single person that's an astrology student, scientist who works in the observatories, all that stuff, if all of that stuff is fake, then fair enough. I don't know if it is or it isn't. You might be right. But in terms of the idea of the science that's not observable science, I would argue the same thing you could say about oxygen. Like we can't see.
John covered it in one of the last episodes. You can observe oxygen.
Well, I can't. I don't know how to.
You can't see it, but you can observe it by testing it.
You said, Sean, when was the last time you ever looked in and understood Mars? I don't know how to. Just like I don't know how to fix someone who's got a broken leg. But when I broke my leg, I trusted the guy who knew how to do it. I don't know how to observe oxygen. I just know that when I breathe, something goes in, and when I exhale, something goes out. But I can't see it.
Oxygen is a good example that they tend to use as a counter argument, but it is observable. You can measure it. But when you look in a telescope to the sky, all you see is a dancing light. It looks like it's underwater. It's not a physical object. If anyone can prove me wrong, and I'll put my hands up and say, do you know what? That actually looks like a spinning ball up there. But the extensive research, and mate, I've done extensive research to even come on the internet and say this out loud, mate. I'm telling you right now, they are not physical objects. Then I appreciate that maybe the ancient civilizations referred to them in some sort of type of way, but I don't believe there's a guy driving a robot car up there with an RC controller, phoning back to the White House, that there's something going on up there. It just feels and looks like a scam.
Okay, but that's not science either. You trusting your gut isn't scientific either, is it?
Well, it's not testable, it's not observable, and I can't experiment on it. So the literal definition of science is that Mars, until this is all ticked off, is...
But you said yourself that unless you can do it, then you wouldn't believe it. If someone else says I can do it,
someone could do it. Someone else could do it. I don't need to go and do it myself.
People that are claiming to do it are claiming that they are doing it. You just don't trust them.
The problem is like I said on one of the other shows, is 99.6% of these scientists, like Eugene mentioned before, live off government grants. So they have to fill a narrative.
So does the NHS. They still fix my leg.
But if they were independent and they were doing it off their own incentives and financially backed by themselves, maybe they would give a bit more credibility to themselves. But the fact that they are literally all rely on their wages, their jobs, the whole operation relies on government funding, they have to fulfill the narrative that they're given. I understand.
So does air traffic control. So does the NHS. So does the police. Like everyone relies on.
Mate, we're not talking about NHS. We're talking about a fantasy. This is a theoretical science. If it isn't observable, experimental,
why isn't it observable?
It's not observable, mate. All you can see it through is what, someone's video camera off of a remote controlled car. Come on.
So if
come on,
is the space? No, I don't know. You can say come on. I don't know. Honestly,
how would you prove it? Like, what proof would be good for you?
I'm not saying you're wrong, Nikos. I'm just saying that the argument you're presenting to me isn't a convincing one.
I don't know what's convincing about it, mate. Like, you literally pulled up the definition of science. Like, if it doesn't fit that definition, it's not theoretical. Yeah, it's not science. It's theory, science fiction.
But what is observable to you might mean something different to someone else. Like, I can observe this. Apparently, I can observe the Mars in the sky. I can still observe it. I just can't touch it physically.
One of the key words in the definition of science is repeatable. We're relying on the word of a billionaire, comes from South Africa, who owns some of the biggest companies in America that are all government funded and lives this elusive Batman bad guy lifestyle. Like, it just doesn't make sense, mate. Like, I would be interested to see what the comment section actually thinks about the side of the story. Like, chat, throw some 2 pence in it, because like I feel like I'm fighting a battle that I'm.
No, you're not fighting. It's not a battle. I'm challenging the conversation. That's all it is.
I get it. Again, I'm not a scientist. I've never been there. I can't prove it. So, by the definition, it's theoretical.
I've never been to Mount Everest, but I'm pretty confident that it's there because I know a lot of other people have.
Oh no, I get that. But that's easy to prove because there's like lots of repeatable, observable, experimental examples that you can cite. You can't do that with Mars or any of these other planets.
What are you saying, Eugene?
What this is like? This reminds me of a conversation when people say that Spurs are good because we're 5th in the table, and I'm saying my eye test tells me that we're crap, and people keep arguing with me. This is like the same conversation. It's like,
what do the comments say? Sean, please show us some comments, mate. There must be someone out here with half a brain. Come on.
Chat. Throw in a 1 if you're with Nikos on this. That Mars. That there's something different about the idea of science when it comes to astrology. How about that? I'll simplify it. One if you're with Nikos, that because it's not something that anyone can actually touch or see, therefore it's bullshit. The science doesn't work. The science doesn't science on it. 0 if you think that there's a little bit of I don't know. It's not a clear answer. Even though I do hear what you're saying, Nikos, but I think you land on. I think you land on an argument that I think is a stretch.
Mate, I've been ruffling feathers my whole life, mate. I'm completely used to it. I don't take any personal offense to anybody like counteracting my argument, but I just want to be given something credible back that actually at least tries to change my mind. But the definition of science, as opposed to science fiction, repeatable, observable, and testable, experimental. Like it isn't, and it just literally isn't.
Based on the how Mars or other planets, like, you can measure the gravitational pull and see what impact they have on the bodies around them. Like, same way the satellites work, same way our technology work, right? It's like physics and math. If it works for our technology, if we can measure certain things, that would imply that those calculations are accurate. Otherwise, most of our tech wouldn't work. Satellites.
What I would say that with Eugene, with that though, right? When it does come to the other area, this is where I'll back Nikos up. First of all, I'll back Nikos up on the flat, because I know his belief starts from his belief that the world is flat, and he's a religious guy, right? So I'm with you on that. I'm not with you on the flat Earth thing. I'm just saying that I'm conscious of the fact that I've looked into the flat Earth experiments, and I hear a lot of gaslighting from people that are globe believers who just say, like, I don't know what you're talking about, but the answer is a light refraction. Even though in certain circumstances, certain experiments above ice plains, there is no refraction because refraction is caused by heat. And if they're taking experiments over frozen lakes, there would be no heat. So, and they can still see things that are far too far away. So I certainly question the science around the globe Earth. 100%, I do. and so I'm not disagreeing with you entirely, Nikos. I just think that the way that you argued there about observable things,
I'm not sure. It's the definition of science. So if we're going to talk about
observable
a
just means
world,
something that can be noticed.
But I get it. I understand. But if we're going to talk about a completely new world, where we're meant to go and like live, if something happens here, it's got to fall under the definition of science, at least, at the very minimum, rather than some guy's videos who happens to be a billionaire from South Africa that lives in America, who gets grants to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars a day. From like, it just doesn't make sense, mate.
Yeah,
like,
again,
come on.
I think you're like this idea that the whole concept of Mars started with Elon Musk. I think is weird. That's it.
Mate, he's a good salesman for Tesla, but he's a bad salesman for the rest of it. That's the crime I've got with him.
Like, forget about Elon Musk. Forget about Elon Musk. If Elon Musk didn't exist, it wouldn't mean that Mars wouldn't be a talking point.
Like, it'd be that Bigelow guy, the Bigelow guy.
The idea of Mars as a planet started fucking 800 years ago. Was it Galileo or someone? Who was it, Eugene, that first discovered Mars?
One of them who got burned at the stake.
There's a light in the sky. There's obviously a light in the sky. There's obviously a light in the sky. Like, I get it. There's a light in the sky. But at no point does it become an inhabitable or unhabitable landing place for us to start civilization again. That's the point, is it's a light in the sky, and every single civilization that has been recorded have known it as a light in the sky, known as a wandering star. Every single documented civilization that has ever been recorded has known it as that. It's only in the last 30, 40, 50 years that it's become something different. So we're right for the last 50 years, or everything that's come before us is wrong. That's
Nikos, don't you agree? You believe in Jesus, right?
Of course.
Is he observable?
No. Do you know what? Someone actually put this in the comments the other day. Actually, I get this. Like, there's some things that you've got to have faith in. There's a certain kind of truth that fills inside of you. Like you've got a soul. There's something that leads you. But there's some things you don't have to just blind faithfully jump into. Like, someone tells you something, that becomes truth because you can't prove that something else is not true. I get it. No, I completely understand.
You're getting support in the chat. Generally, you are. But for what it's worth, the people that are playing the zeros and ones game, we've got a 0. Adam Horlock's meeting us in the middle. He's saying 0.5.
Mate, I'm fighting the corner, mate. I'm fighting the corner for Jesus, mate.
I was about to actually introduce something crazy, but since you're a religious person, I'm not going to go there. About the God versus Satan and how the definitions are reversed, but I don't.
No, bring that. Go for it. I want to hear
that. Go for it. I'm here for it, mate. I'm here for it. I've got half a bottle of wine left.
I found God because I found the devil.
Mate,
so that philosopher who was on that pod who told you about, he had some crazy theories that actually I was thinking about for a while. So there was one guy, he worked, I forgot, for NASA or whoever. So according to him, he was approached by the Nordics or the tall whites. So what they told him is they're hiding out in Colorado somewhere. They're mingling among people. So they're saying is that their civilization, it's very hierarchical, right? It's like nobody, like if you're born a certain way, that's who you are. Like you can't do anything. You have to listen to your superiors, and that's it. So they want to be among people because they're saying there's more freedom, and they asked for the CIA or whoever else not to leave them alone. So the whole point is that this philosopher is saying he's been researching like ancient texts and the Prometheus myth and all that stuff. So what he's saying is that God, what we think of as a God, it's also based on hierarchy, right? There are certain rules that the God wants everybody to follow. And if you don't follow the rules, if you don't fall in line, you're a sinner and this, and that. Whereas Satan, the original definition of Satan, or like in Greek, it doesn't mean like evil. It just means somebody who's against like the rule of order.
Yeah, the maverick.
Right, exactly. So in his like interpretation is it's like those aliens who are hiding out in order to avoid, to live a freer life. Satan was there. He's like one of the angels who rebelled against God in order not to be, what's the
He was
word?
a fallen angel. He was a fallen angel.
Exactly. So the God is a tyrant, and Satan or those fallen angels are the one who are rebelling because they wanted some freedom, right? Whatever. So, which is an interesting concept. So he was going in on that. The second part of that, which is crazy, is he was thinking that or saying that since we have this universal consciousness, we have souls. According to him, he thinks that the moon is an alien base and they're harvesting souls. So when we think about the reincarnation, our souls after we die are supposed to go back into whatever, the universe or wherever else. But now those aliens or whoever else, they're in the moon, they're harvesting our souls and not allowing those souls to escape Earth. Because what they do is, like, we live and we have these like experiences, right? These like bad experiences, whatever, and they harvest that like sorrow and that negativity from our souls, and that's why we get reincarnated after we die. We go back here, and they don't allow our souls to just go back into whatever.
What happens then if there's
This
falling
whole concept
population?
of like Satan and God and definition of God, like the God is trying to keep us kind of oppressed, and the Satan is the one who's trying to set people free. But because the religions wanted people to conform, these concepts evolved. I don't know if that makes sense, but
the soul catching thing makes sense. But I've got to ask you this: how does the reincarnation thing work in a world
Works with the light. Let me jump in. It jumps in with the light. So when you go to those pearly gates, if you've ever had a near-death experience, you're called to the light by people that you know on the earth as your family or your friends, and you're part of a reincarnation program. What you need to do when you get to that point is you need to turn your back on the light. So I know that sounds mad, but what you'd actually need to do is like not participate in the recycle program of reincarnation. So there's a bigger universe outside of what we know as our souls, and it doesn't necessarily resonate with the reincarnation program, but the life experiences of come back, and like family, friends. When people say they're heading towards the light, they see their grandparents or friends or whatever. It calls them towards the light. But from what I understand,
that's a fucking big risk. If you were to die tonight, Nikos, just out of curiosity, you're saying that if you saw the light, you'd turn your back on it?
I would.
It's a simulation. That whole thing with your family and relatives.
That's like,
do you know what, mate? The funny thing,
right? Go on, Nikos. Go on.
I was just saying, the funny thing about it is that's something I think about every night. With a kid on this planet and parents and grandparents and family that I've lost, I yearn for the day where I see that light, and I also yearn for that day that I reject that light. That's
how you've learned that because you've heard stories from someone that's apparently had a near-death experience. That's not observable. How you believe in that shit?
No, I've learned that from extensive research. And I wouldn't say extensive in a very small-minded way. You're given a choice. Go back into the program or reject it. And you claim your own sovereignty. And when you get to that point, God forbid, people watching this, if ever get to that, obviously we all will get there someday, you're given a choice. Do you decide to go back into this program that we know as reincarnation? And do you go back around the cycle again and go back through this life cycle? Obviously it's quite well documented.
The point is that you've learned that through listening to other people saying that.
I've made a conscious decision based on what I've learned that the right choice
is not something that you have personally observed. You haven't had a near-death experience, so you don't even know if the seeing the light thing is real or otherwise. So you're accepting some unobservable facts, but you're dismissing others.
But the experiments are there.
At that point there's no information either way. All it is a case of deciding: do you go to the light and do you follow those voices, or do you look back at the universe and do you make a decision to be sovereign? And from what I understand is you might lose what you have here now, but
Or
your
you might be
soul
turning
is
turning your back on Jesus, right? Which is the guy that in the Bible says, "Follow the light." So he's
Mate,
your boy.
I think personally, to answer your question, I've made my mind up a long time ago what decision I would make when that light comes, and hopefully it's a long, long, long time from now. But when that light comes, I will declare myself sovereign, and I'll be turning my back on it, making that what you will.
But the reincarnation thing, that's actually, it's being studied scientifically. I forgot there's a university.
Scientifically, we can't keep using that word.
No,
can't
but
keep using that word.
You can't keep dismissing it because.
No, but the thing is, if I can't prove it as observer to like observing it, experiment on it, and test on it, then you can't use it the other way.
No, but
No,
so that's what
exactly.
they do.
Let's either believe in what we believe in, or if we're going to listen to
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's no right or wrong answer here. Like we're kind of like flipping a coin, I guess, to a degree. Like I don't want to. Like no one knows the real answer.
You did say that Mars and Elon Musk was wrong. So.
Oh yeah, I get that. That's a shit salesman. I get that. Like that's different. The thing is, that's different because like he's selling you a story that you can't prove.
Maybe so is the person that had a near-death experience. You know.
Maybe so. The point being is that we will all get to that point. The point being is that we won't all get to see Mars, but we'll all get to that light one day.
To be honest, mate, the idea to me of if I die and I see a light that way or pitch black that way, I'm going to the light, bro, because I'm scared of the dark. You know.
Well,
what are we doing here?
You get to go around again, my friend. You get to go around again.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe I hope I'm not wrong because I'll be fucked. But I'm just saying to maybe some of the more open-minded people that get ever to watch this, that maybe there's an opportunity to escape this soul trap that Eugene referenced there. Maybe there is some sort of grand design. Keep us going on in circles.
Why are we believing in the soul trap story? Isn't it just another one of the millions of theories?
No, this goes back to every civilization before the last 60 years. It's everything that civilization knew until 60 years ago.
How would they know?
Well, I don't fucking know. I went here 60 years ago. all I'm saying is someone's right and someone's wrong. I'm going to go with the majority.
By the way, how do you know is the wrong question for the show. How do you know? Like that's.
Or why do you believe? How about that? Why do you believe?
That's better. How do you know? We don't know anything.
We don't know anything.
What do
you know what I will say, right? You know what I will say?
I'm a gambling man. I'm gambling.
I do believe in God-given talents. I do believe I have got faith, right? I 100% got faith. I'm not sure if I said this before, but like Ricky Gervais, who is an atheist, right?
Yeah.
One of the most famous atheists out there.
Yeah.
Who is a comedian who spends his life
also a gaylord.
Spends his life using what some people would describe as a God-given talent to talk in front of thousands of people in stadiums around the world, right? And part of his show is always to ridicule the idea of faith, right? He ridicules it all the time. Let's be entirely honest here. Being an atheist is a lose-lose situation.
Absolutely.
Because if you're right, and then when you die, it's lights out, end of consciousness, just like it was before you were born, you don't remember what happened 100 years ago, etc. If you're right and there is no God, then you're not going to be conscious to recognize that you were right.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, you're fucked. Because you're going to get to the pearly gates, and then you're going to have God or Saint Peter or whoever your particular, whoever your particular God is, Muhammad, whatever else, and they're going to go, Eugene, yeah, oh, you're an atheist. No place in here for you, mate. You didn't believe. Go away. And that's like, it's a lose-lose situation. But if you're Ricky Gervais, that's some would say has been given a God-given talent to entertain people and influence people, and you have used that God-given talent to turn people away from God, to ridicule the idea of faith, to ridicule the idea of having a belief in a higher power, there's a special place in hell for that geezer. He's going to get to the pearly gates and he's going to go, Ricky Gervais, Ricky. Oh, yeah, that's the guy that we spent a little bit more time on the personality. God spent a little bit more time on your personality, so you had all these opportunities. What did you do with it? Let's just look at the clock. Okay. That's what you decided to do with that talent. He is fucked. He better hope there's no God, because if he's wrong, Ricky Gervais is going to the 7th circle.
Mate, there you go, mate. Ricky Gervais is one of the devil's champions. He notoriously is like, he doesn't have children. The woman he's married to is questionable in this transgender world that we live in terms of like technology and surgery. And he is one of the most popular comedians or influencers of the last 20 years. The amount of people, Sean, like from the financial world that I know, that have become an atheist based on Ricky Gervais is incredible. I must know probably 15 people that don't believe in God because they listen to Ricky Gervais videos. It's insane the influence that someone like that will have on the majority of people because he's funny or funny looking or created a TV show or hosted a Golden Globe Award for 5 years running. Just, unfortunately, these people are not credible. And like the quicker you come to terms with it, the better it probably is for you. But Ricky Gervais is a very questionable person. And I'm on the fence with him. I'm getting splinters. Like, I hope that he's wrong. I'm pretty sure I know that he's wrong. But
if he's wrong or right, it's not no skin off my nose. Go on, Eugene. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have my faith. Yes, he is. Like, good luck to him. But I guess one of us will be right, one of us will be wrong. But it's unfortunately the people that have the greatest influence have these opinions that seem to go the furthest way. But yeah, like Ricky Gervais. Like, have you ever seen the videos and pictures of Ricky Gervais in the 1980s, 1990s? Yeah, he is an absolute raging gaylord. Absolutely.
He's a funny one, though.
He's fun, mate. I give him credit for his comedic talents. Like, I get that, but there was jesters in every civilization. He's a joker.
It's faith, right? It's like, being an atheist. You just believe, like, you believe in not believing. So all of it.
The problem is his reach is so far, Eugene. The problem is someone like that has an influence on people's life decisions. And again, like I said, I've come from a very affluent circle of people, and the amount of smart people that are atheists because of something a guy says on a TV just astounds me. I don't know about you, Sean, but you work in finance as well. How many people do you know that are atheists?
But it goes both ways, right, Nikos? I mean, church always tries to convert non-believers or whatever, right, into the religion. So it's just, that's what people do. When they're sure that they're right, they try to convert others to their opinions. So
exactly.
Whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, an atheist, the only ones who don't are my people. The Jews don't want any more Jews. They're like, yeah.
I'm not touching the Jews again. I'm not touching the Jews again. We touched it briefly for about 3 minutes, and it felt like it was 3 minutes too long.
It's okay.
It's not nothing. I don't think we said anything about Jewish people. Like, I think Jewish people. I've got my.
I was talking about it. I'm the one who brought up APAC. So you guys are safe. I was the one talking about it.
You're not like. It's like I got called anti-Semitic after a spat with a Tottenham guy, which was just ridiculous because the guy happened to be Jewish, and I had an argument with the guy, and someone said, "Oh, you're clearly anti-Semitic." I said, "Why?" Because the way you spoke to him. I was like, I didn't even know he was Jewish, but like, just because I have a problem with someone who happens to be Jewish doesn't mean, you know what I mean. And even if you have a problem with the Israeli government, it doesn't mean that you're anti-Semitic. Like, I have a massive problem with Keir Starmer. Does that mean that I'm anti-English? What are we doing here? It's ridiculous. You can separate the people, the faith, the country, and the people that rule the world. And the people that rule the world, I have a problem with, and I don't care. I've got a problem with the people that rule the world in this country, all across Europe, all across America, all across every part of the world. There's not a politician anywhere that I've got any time for.
Yeah.
And so
the problem is they've hijacked the language, Sean. This is what a lot of the problem is. It's like the Jews in particular. Again, not to get down this too quickly, but the word anti-Semitic they seem to think it implies basically to the Jewish community, but the word Semitic refers to a large family that is a part of a larger Afro-Astanic group. The examples of Semitic languages are Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, Amharic, and Philokayan. So the word itself has been hijacked specifically to benefit the Jewish community. If you have anything to say against them, you're labeled as anti-Semitic. But
I think I think the same thing can be used against any, like, if you happen to say something about someone, if you happen to say, "Oh, I don't like that guy," and he happened to be gay.
So what happens? What happens?
Let me finish my point. Then you're homophobic, right? And if you happen to say someone who say, "I don't like that particular person, his policies, his way of life, or anything about the guy, the fact that he stole a loaf of bread, whatever," and he happens to be Islamic, then you're Islamophobic. Like, this is just the world that we live in, where everybody can use anything they can to claim victim, and it's not that's not isolated into one group of people. That is a thing that everybody's doing right now. Everybody, old people will do it. Will use it. If you get pissed off with someone who's parking too slowly, then you're anti-ageist. If you're having a problem with someone who eats too much, you're someone who's against fat people. It's just everyone wants to be a victim, and everybody wants to think that the things that they do are not responsible why people dislike them. It's something else. It's something bigger. You don't like. It's not that you just dislike me. It's that you dislike what I represent, and that's a problem that every single part of society is using right now, because that's the way the world has been shaped. So that's not a Semitic thing, or that's an everybody thing.
So an Arab can't be anti-Semitic. So they talk about, it's quite, again, it's been changed through history, but an Arab is Semitic. So what's going on in Gaza right now and with Israel, there's a kind of a bit of a conflict of interest in who is anti-Semitic and who isn't. And if you stand up for one side as opposed to the other, you're labeled as anti-Semitic, but both sides are Semitic.
Yeah, okay, it's just a word. It's a word.
Yeah, so again, like I said, there's been a hijacking of the language in the way that we define a lot of this stuff, which is kind of a bit of a problem, especially in the Middle East. Anyway, if you've got any more videos, I think we should go somewhere else.
I think Eugene was trying to say something there. Go on, Eugene.
No, just a question. Again, I don't want to derail this, even though we're all over the place. But so, Nico, since you're a person of faith, as you mentioned, right? And at the same time, you're a conspiracy guy. But if you look at the organized religion by itself, right? Like, how do you believe both things? All the conspiracies, but also believe in what the organized religion is teaching you as far as these concepts, and take that at face value, where all the other stuff you don't. That's what I'm interested in. Like, how do you manage that?
This is easy. The Catholic Church was hijacked. So again, on one of the next episodes, I'll bring evidence of so. But from my understanding, the Catholic Church was hijacked. This is why, you'll find that a lot of the belief systems from the previous Catholic Church are not recognized now in the current Catholic Church. The definition of Basia, so like a cathedral, is the bishop has to live in the church. The Pope doesn't live in the Basia in the Vatican. So they've somehow along the line, they've changed the definition of the Catholic and Christian cultures. So they've rewritten history, Eugene. I know it's really hard to kind of comprehend, but
that's for sure. But I'm talking about even not even like the church, but like the concept, right? Like Jesus, Son of God, like these concepts versus, I don't know.
The church in England, the church in England's been hijacked. Again, what I'm trying to say is like the church in England been hijacked. The current Bishop of Canterbury is a woman who is LGBTQ HDMI friendly. Like that's not,
HDMI. I'm HDMI friendly.
I don't know what you call it. Like, again, I don't know what you call it, but I have this little phrase.
Not that standard definition bullshit. What are we doing?
Again, I don't want to be politically incorrect, but there's all these letters that keep getting added. So when it got to LGBTQ, I changed my bit to HDMI, which is obviously one of the plugs that you have on the back of your TV. It just got too much. Like they've changed it all. you know, and if you can just get to that singular point where you realize that there's been some sort of type of like crucial change in the direction of the belief system of a lot of these religions, it's easier to comprehend. But right now, the person who's running the Canterbury Cathedral, I was actually married there. Actually, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I was actually married at the Canterbury Cathedral. So it's quite an important thing to me. But I was married there, and I had the bishop and everything else come to my wedding and stuff like that. But now it's some crazy lesbian woman who is inviting immigrants in on boats and, you know, talking about, you know, same-sex marriages, and it's just away from God. Again, it all comes back to your belief systems and taking you away from God. You know, we all have a God, but the God that I have doesn't believe in a lot of what currently is going on in the Christian and Catholic churches.
Do you know what I would say about God though, right? As much as I think that Neil deGrasse or Neil My Ass Tyson is a
I love that.
bozo.
I love that term you got for him. That needs to be rebranded. You need to get a T-shirt. Neil My Ass Tyson. Do some merch or something.
I think he's an absolute bozo. But one thing I heard him say that I do think is absolutely spot on is that the Bible teaches you that God is both all powerful and all good. At least the New Testament version, right? Both things can't be true. He might be all good, but he's not all powerful. Or he might be all powerful, but if he is, then he can't be all good. Because too many things hang on, mate, let me finish my point. Too many good things, too many bad things happen to good people, innocent children. So either he's neither all powerful nor all good. This is if he does exist. Or he might be all powerful, but he's not all good. Or he might be all good, but if he is, then he's fighting against another force that's got just as much control and can do just as much damage. Two things. God is a simulation. Powerful and all good. There's too much shit that happens.
That's why God is a simulation, my friends. We're in a simulation.
You believe in the simulation, don't you? You believe in the simulation, Eugene?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not like a video game type of a simulation, but the universe, right? There's this whole theory where everything in the universe just ones and zeros, right? So something or some, not body, but something is running a simulation on us. And I do believe that.
Some alien in his basement.
Yeah, it could be an alien, or it could be even above that, like the universe itself, right? Could be running a simulation. It could be like our consciousness. It could be, I don't know, but something's going on.
I got a great video for this one, Eugene. Perfect segue, right?
There's a video game called No Man's Sky. It's on one DVD. 14 college students from various different colleges got together and made this video.
Sorry, Eugene, you gave me some sign like you've seen it before. Have you seen this video?
Oh, no, I didn't see it. I just know Billy Carson. He got destroyed in a debate by Hoff or whatever.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the Christian
forgive me for because he's an absolute bozo. Forgive me for him, but the story is quite cool. So let's
it's all good.
There's a video game called No Man's Sky. It's on one DVD. 14 college students from various different colleges got together and made this video game. It has 80 quadrillion planets and unlimited life forms, and the game never ends. It's a universe on a DVD utilizing the Mandelbrot-set equation, which is a fractal mathematical equation. All the scenes, all the planets, all the life forms, the animation, everything is rendering as it's needed based on this very simple mathematical code called the Mandelbrot set. They're talking about now injecting AI into the No Man's Sky game. Now, once AI or AGI, by that time maybe as it evolves, is inside of this universe, the people in there will become conscious. The animals will become conscious. Life will become conscious of itself. And will people in there ask, how do we get here? Who are we? Who's our God? And from their perspective, they think it's real. And they think they're real because they're conscious. We ourselves have already created a simple universe. But like you say, when the quantum computer now is activated and online and everyone has access to it and they can build a simulation like this, then what does it say about where we are? Because we are only creating fractals of what already exists. We're here in this third dimension, and we believe that this is reality, but it's not reality.
For sure, spot on. Actually, he's spot on about. It's very simple. Right now, we have the VR goggles or whatever, right? So in 10, 20, 100 years, VR is going to be so good that it will be indistinguishable from reality. So if that's the case, how do we know that it hasn't already happened in the past and we are living in one of those simulations? right?
Or a
Chances
simulation
are,
within a
yeah,
simulation within a simulation within a simulation,
yeah,
right? We
it
could
could
be
be.
fourth, fifth, 10th, 100th
I mean,
level.
chances are that, yeah, exactly. I mean, it just makes sense. It's Occam's razor, right? If it's going to be possible,
That doesn't sit well with the average person to think that they're not special.
but that's why the organized religion, the concept of God who created man in his image, right? It's all about us feeling special about ourselves, right? So, but
Takes you away from
ultimately,
God. It takes you away from God. By believing all these simulations and believing all this science fiction, it takes you one step further away from God.
but
Christ is
still
your
thought
savior.
exercise, like I said, Nikos, right?
Doesn't mean it's not real though.
In 50 years, the simulation that we're going to have is going to be indistinguishable
Like
from
the
reality.
word simulation is literally the definition of false.
But all I'm saying is you're going to put on a VR headset
It's a
and you
simulation.
will not be able to tell if you're in reality or in a game.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is you're further away from God. It's a simulation. It's not
But
reality.
But you don't know if God's reality either, Nikos, mate.
Yeah.
This is true. No, I understand this, but there's very few things in this world that you have faith in, and one of them is your faith, your God,
Yeah,
your
because it's a
religion.
comforting
The
factor, isn't it? It's a
Muslims have
comfort
it, the
factor.
Christians have it, the Catholics have it. One thing that you, if anything, to believe in is your religion and your faith.
Of course,
But
I understand why people
simulations,
do. It makes total sense why people do. One is to feel like you're special, and the other one is to feel like there's consequences for the actions of people that do you wrong that you can't get retribution on. And the other one is a control mechanism that the people that are in charge could place on everybody that there are consequences for your actions too. And obviously, the final part of all that kind of quadricep of kind of base feelings here is that you don't want to feel like when it's game over that's it. You want to feel like you're going to see your mum again. You're going to see your dad again. You'll see your pet again. You'll see your dead wife again. You'll see your dead husband, your dead children. You want to believe that there is something in the future after this realm. And so I completely understand why people have faith, completely understand it. But just having the faith alone doesn't mean that it's more realistic than anything else. Someone in the chat said a minute ago that believing in God, it was a while back, that believing in God is more believable than believing in reptilians.
exactly.
Same thing. Why is it? Why is it? There's
Again, if nothing else,
faith is a concept where you don't need evidence. All you need is your gut instinct, and you need your personal reassurance in something.
Mate,
And
when you
there's just as much reason. There is just as much reason to believe that if a universe of a never-ending amount of star systems exists and a never-ending amount of galaxies with a quadrillion, billion, trillion different things out there, the idea that we are the only planet with life that has evolved to this stage, and we are the first and most advanced that this planet has ever had. That's if that is something that people want to believe in, fair play, but it is absolutely bonkers to me. If you want to believe that the universe exists and that space exists and that is full of planets and star systems and galaxies to the point where the number of them that is put out there is so obscenely high, the idea that we're the only place that has had life is ridiculous. And then on that basis, if there are other places that have had life, the idea that we're the most advanced of all of them is also absolutely ridiculous.
Mate,
So
do me a favor.
there's no point. There's no difference to believing in God, to believing in reptilians, to believing in Mars. It's faith. You either believe it or you don't.
Mate, I completely get it. I completely understand your point of view. 100%. I get it. I completely get it. Go outside tonight after we finish this podcast. You look up to the stars and you ask for God and you ask for Jesus and Arab. And if you don't get a chill down your spine when you say it, I will take back every single word that I've ever said. When you go outside tonight and you talk to God and you ask him to prove to you that Mars is real and all this other stuff, mate, you will not feel a single thing. There are certain things that you can believe in without physically touching it scientifically. The definition we brought up earlier on. But there's some things that you've got to take that leap with. And this is one of them. You know, I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy. I've met the devil, like you, Sean. I've met him and he's a prick. But I've met God too. And to have the devil, you've got to have the God too. And if you meet God, you'll understand that there is something that you need to believe in without seeing. And it doesn't mean that you've got to believe in everything that you don't see or not believe in everything you don't see. But there's some things, very few things in particular, that you can take that leap with. Trust me. Go out tonight. When you finish the show, go outside, look to the stars and ask for God. And tell me if you don't get a chill down your spine when you ask for him.
I hear
If
you,
you
man.
don't, I get it.
I hear you. I'm
Like,
just saying that
every time I ask for him, I get a chill down my spine, and it's a feeling
I think
that you don't get
that
from.
that might be a you thing, mate, but like not everybody gets that, bro.
Maybe. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels it. But if you go outside tonight and ask God to show you Mars, He ain't showing you shit. So. Again, like I said, you got.
I think the words you're dropping. I understand that you feel that way, but I feel like you're dismissive of other people's takes on other things, and then you expect everyone else to believe yours. It's a little bit.
The Muslims are more. If you talk to a Muslim and you tell him the same thing I just said to you there, mate, he will 100% agree with me. It's not just one particular religion. It's not God like a Christian God, but there is something superior out there that oversees our fortunes, our forecasts, our paths, you know, but you've got to connect with him. And if you keep getting led down this scientific philosophy,
That's the thing you're doing, though. This is the thing you're doing, Nikos. You're pushing your narrative on things that you can't see, and you're telling people to not believe in the things that they can or can't see themselves. That's what I'm saying.
I did say you feel it. I said you feel it. If you don't, promise me, Sean, go out tonight. Go out to the stars, look to the skies with Bugsy, and ask him to show you the way. And if he doesn't show you the way and you don't feel that feeling, I get it. But I've been there. I understand.
Nikos, you don't think I've had conversations with God before? Tried to?
No, I don't know, mate. I don't know. But I have. I've been there. I've met the devil. I've seen him face to face, mate. And I've met him, and he's not a nice. It's not a nice path. And I chose the other way. And the other way, I feel it. And you can't feel that like with just Mars and all these other weird like theories. Like you just can't. Like again, it's hard to explain. Like, I know I come across like a little bit like a crazy person trying to explain this, but there's a feeling inside you that just is greater than the train of thought. You know, like again. I'm sure, again, I just pray that everybody goes out and tries to find that path. And if you find that path, like, good luck to you. Like, I just want everybody to try and find the truth as opposed to the lie. That's all it is about, you know. But the things that we're trying to pass off as science, that are science fiction, are not credible science. I'll give you the definition of science.
Nikos, stop, mate. We're going round and round in circles. You're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing as the people. No, you're okay. It's fine. But you're saying that you're like the science that you don't believe in is not credible, but your faith is, and it's like it's pushing the same. It's the same. Like you, I'm not sure how to explain it, but you're pushing the same thing that you're calling bullshit, where other people push. So it's duplicity.
My issue is that we're attributing human motivations, human attributes to God, which to me is a leap, right? We can say God is out there, but saying God is powerful or good or like, you know, Satan is evil, those are human motivations, human attributes. So in my mind, you could say, okay, there's a universe, there's a power, there's simulation, but I wouldn't like, just to me, I wouldn't attribute human motivations to that all powerful whoever, right? That's why religions to me don't really like make sense per se, right? You can say, yes, I'm spiritual, I believe in the universe, I believe that something is there, whether it's a simulation or alien, I have no idea what. But saying that, you know, you like good, well, it's very binary, it's very human, and to me doesn't make sense.
It is 100% aliens. By the way, guys, in after 2.5 hours, we have broken the new record. There is 80 people here. There's 80 people here. Every single stream, we're getting a few extra live streams concurrently. Guys, if you're new around these here parts, we go down conspiracy corners, and there's a little bit of faith, a little bit of religion, a little bit of science, a little bit of debunking, a little bit of flat earth, a little bit of robots, robot prostitutes that I can't wait until that day comes. It's going to be absolutely sensational. Please do smash the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to these, because I'm sure we're shadow banned. So, or we will be very soon if we're not already. But help us out a little bit.
Do me the biggest favor. Like, I know that I come across a little bit scattered, but it's so hard to kind of explain my position. Like, I know that a lot of people feel what I'm saying, but if you do understand or try and feel that the more critical mind is the more comprehensible way forward, like, throw some comments in and express yourself too, because it's suppressed. You know, this train of thought is suppressed in so many ways. Like, I know a lot of people feel it, they don't know how to get across, but I promise, like, this is the way forward. You know, this is the whole reason why I like to do these shows with Sean and Eugene, and you know, it's trying to find that voice of reason. But you know, we've lived through a cycle of indoctrination. We've lived through this psychological program of undoing what we know as faith. Like, just, you know, I'd appreciate reading the comments tomorrow and seeing a few people that can understand what I'm trying to say here. You know, like.
Everyone understands, mate. Well, we're all getting onto it tonight.
We're all on a journey.
Let's do another video though. Let's do another video, shall we? And then we'll round off in like 10 minutes. So we've been going for a long time. Let's round off in 10 minutes. How about this one? I think Eugene, I think you mentioned earlier something about Göbekli Tepe. I think this is about Göbekli Tepe. This one, I think it is. Let's have a look at it.
This drives me nuts. Not gonna lie.
My bad. Angkor Wat. I knew it as soon as I saw it. Close enough. Yeah.
This drives me nuts. Not gonna lie. That's Angkor Wat, and that's something that we use every day. About 10 years ago, Angkor Wat was scanned with LiDAR to remove the trees and see what's underneath them. When they did that, these appeared. Let me put this into perspective. Angkor Wat is the biggest temple on Earth. 7 Angkor Wats could fit comfortably in whatever that is. That squiggly geometry is used by your credit card and your festival wristband, and Walmart when it tries to stop you from stealing stuff. These are RFID chips. They don't need power, but they couple with an antenna sending a signal, which is crazy because Angkor Wat's aligned to a star. It also has the exact geometry of a camera sensor that converts light to electricity. The only difference is scale. And the temple has the geometry of a timekeeping oscillator, which is exactly what it does using the sun. The towers are shaped like the signal coming out of your phone when it connects to a tower. A cross-section of these towers is the same geometry as a corrugated horn antenna. The shape of a computer chip is functional, not aesthetic. That's because they're meant to manipulate electrical vibrations. Well, between the ionosphere and the ground is a current called the global electric circuit. This seems like too many coincidences, which is why about 80% of my research is focused on this exact topic. And on Sunday, I'm doing a live stream. Latest research, how it works, the role of sound in these things. Any purchase of the birthday bundle or the mastery suite will get you a free pass into the inner grid where I will be hosting that talk. You want to go? You should go. Don't make it weird. It's not clingy if we both want it.
So he's selling stuff. Okay, makes sense now.
He's selling stuff. We know that now. But he's talking about, I think it's the same thing as the King Solomon's temple, right? That temple in the religious land, right? The actual the shape of King Solomon's temple as a if you would take it from a bird's eye view and look at it, it looks basically just like a microchip. And I think that Angkor Wat story is essentially saying that, you know, RFID chips generally are all just nano-sized versions of some of the stuff that's in the archaic realms of the history. Eugene, what are you saying, bro? Do you believe that stuff?
I'm not sure. I mean, sounds.
I thought you'd be into that one, mate. I thought you'd be into the science and technology that's represented.
No, I am for sure. But so what's he implying? So what's the implication here? That the microchips are based on the ancient structures, or is there something else?
The LiDAR is basically exposing that these places are built in certain ways, that the architecture of them is constructed in certain ways. I think that he's inferring that it's all lined up with some star shit.
That I agree with for sure. I thought
it's a way to generate energy from the universe that comes into
the pyramids as well. There's always people like think that the purpose of like the pyramids of all these temples is just there, you know, for like aesthetic purposes or for burial purposes. I'm sure there's a different purpose, right? Some sort of energy generation or some sort of like communication with aliens or whoever, right? There's a purpose for all those. So yeah, that makes sense to me for sure.
What are you saying, Nikos?
There's you're familiar with the term ley lines?
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing I referenced earlier on, Coral Castle in Miami, the guy that discovered that actually done it with dowsing rods. There's a natural magnetic energy that moves across the world, probably the same as in Turkey, where they've built these megaliths, structures. Yep. Yeah. And that would fall under that category, I would think.
Agreed.
Definitely a lot going on that one. Definitely a lot going on. I need to learn a little bit more about it, but we'll if we're not really detailed to go into the next level of that conversation, then let's finish off last one, and then we'll round off. We're going 2 hours 34 minutes. Okay, last one.
Wow.
It's the longest show we've done yet. Let's see what. Actually, this one is just funny. This one is hilarious. This will be the penultimate one, okay? But I've got to bring this one up. It's fucking brilliant.
This comes at a tumultuous time for the UK, with many unhappy with Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
I'm on, Facebook, and some of the language that's coming onto the messages of their opinions of Keir Starmer.
Can you say without swearing? Can you say what they're saying?
Well, they're using the C-U-N-T word a lot.
Hard to know which word they're talking about, isn't it?
She was very widely appreciated. She's like an old lady in her 70s who just absolutely nailed the vibe. All right, let's do the last one now. Let's do the last one. Let's see what this one is going. What's this one? Is this one any good?
The black line is the S&P 500.
No, that's a finance one. Fuck that. We'll do that another time. Let's do what's this one here?
Well, the Lone Star tick has made its way to California and infected over hundreds of people in the last few months with AGS, a rare disease that makes humans allergic to red meat and dairy, forcing them to go vegan, which is interesting considering a World Economic Forum scientist said this just a couple years ago.
About milk intolerance, and there's some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
That was Dr. Matthew Lau in 2016 when there was about 34,000 cases of AGS in the United States. Skip forward to today, there's over 450,000 Americans affected. How are they getting from Texas to California? Climate change. What is it ultimately going to help? Climate change. It's just crazy that this happened in Martha's Vineyard, where the global elites and WEF members vacation in the summer. Is this just an experiment or a coincidence? As always, let me know what you think about all of this down below.
She looks and sounds like a complete nut job. However, that interview was pretty surreal.
Yeah, because they want everybody to stop eating meat, right? They want everyone to stop eating red meat. I told you this on the Friday night show. The people that live down the road from me that own a farm, they usually grow corn for animal feed, and they told me that it's no longer worth doing it. That they basically the government, whoever it is that give them those grants, don't pay them any money, and so now they've been paid a lot more money to essentially grow wildflowers that don't help anything. That don't do anything. They're just sitting there, just basically chewing up the land with crap. It looks horrendous. And the reason being is that if they're doing that on a massive scale, then the cost of the animal feed that is out there goes through the roof. And what happens then? It pushes the price of meat through the roof, and it pushes the price of steak through the roof. And so people are going to be forced to come off meat because I don't know if you've been to Sainsbury's or Tesco's or Safeway Eugene or Whole Foods or whatever, but the price of like a fillet steak, like 3 years ago, used to be
it doubled,
£8, £9, £10, or $15, whatever. Now it's like, you know, two or three times that. It's insane. And so now you can see this particular thing being another kind of amplification of the same catalyst, right? Like if we give everybody a little dose of that tick, and everybody's allergic to red meat, what's the benefit? No more red meat demand.
But on the other hand, if they're gonna make fake meat, that's potential. That's a lot of money to be made. So if they're gonna make, I mean, that's what's gonna happen in the future, right? They're gonna lab grown meat. So if that's the case, I mean, would this make sense if they can just feed people fake meat and make money from it?
They've been doing that for years. They've been doing that fake meat for years.
Well, lab grown meat.
No, they've been making a meat with meat glue. I don't know if you've come across it. Probably in America, it's more prominent than anywhere else in the world. But there's a meat glue. So they basically like stick pieces of meat together with some sort of type of like synthetic glue, and they sell it off as a prime piece of meat when in fact it's not. So this is quite a normal thing. But yeah, like Sean said there, like the whole objective of them is to wean people off of meat, because it impacts quite a large percentage of your carbon footprint. So this is why
they want everyone eating protein via insects, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. So again, this is something that the WEF, we brought them up on one of the last shows, but the World Economic Forum have been talking about like eating bugs and shit for years, you know, because it's a good source of protein at a low cost, you know, and it's what they want to try and get people doing. You know, this is why when you do eventually have your digital ID and you have your digital wallet all linked together, you'll be told how many times a week you can eat meat. I would imagine, like based on the current like kind of forecast, you'll be lucky if you can eat meat twice a week. So
this simulation sucks. No meat in the future. Spurs are trash. All these
free shells, no meat.
Take me to Mars. Take me to Mars, Elon.
Take me to Mars.
Get me to
there
Mars,
you go.
bro. You know?
There you go.
Unfortunately, like I said, it is a constructive program that they've prepared for us for a long time. It's just a case of waking up and realizing it, or enjoying it and going with the ride.
Or earn enough money that you can always afford the price of meat, whatever it is. That's my plan, right? Make enough money in life so that you can so that you can always be. Whatever they do with inflation, you're still okay. That's the
taxing you into the ground, mate. If you make more money, they tax you into the ground. Like, you know, I've been on both sides. I've been rich, I've been poor, and I must say, like, I've been rich, and I've been poor. Poor is easier. I know that sounds silly, but it's easier. That's just how it is. If you become rich, like you become part of this like cycle. If you become poor, like you not poor, but if you become less wealthy, you become a little bit less susceptible to the demands of the rich.
I couldn't disagree more.
Sorry, we should organize eventually, once you guys become very wealthy, if you're not yet, we should organize an OnlyCans expedition to Antarctica.
I'm going to Mars.
Or to the moon. So Sean,
let's go to Antarctica. Let's do the 24-hour. Let's do the 24-hour sun thing. We'll see it with our own eyes, Nikos.
And you can live stream. It's going to be the best show.
Do you know what, mate? I saw that video you mentioned on one of the other episodes, Sean, about the guy that went to Antarctica and the 365 sun or whatever it was, mate. That's all bullshit. Absolute bullshit. The guy who did it had the biggest YouTube channel. The world is flat, and then all of a sudden, after that episode, the world is round. But
he's hated now amongst his flat tards.
Yeah, mate, you know, I looked into it. I looked into it because you brought it up and I didn't know anything about it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do the research. I'm going to put the time in. I'm going to understand what he's talking about. You know, and I looked into it. I was like, mate, like that could be anywhere. Like if you did that on the North Pole, you would see at certain times of the year the sun.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he took one of those like a. What are they called?
YouTubers. It's a bunch of YouTubers. Like there's a bunch of YouTubers who have been in it.
I'm pretty sure he took one of those like iFind things, those like things that you attach to your keys or whatever, so that people could GPS it. Oh, mate, well, listen, maybe, but this is the thing, Nikos, mate. If you're at the point where everything is bullshit. If it disagrees with your opinion, then you are just like the people that you're trying to change, Nikos. And we will continue this conversation on the next show. We have to go. It's been 2 hours and 43 minutes. There's been 81 people here. Absolute record, absolute monster show.
Salute to you.
Salute to you, Eugene. What's that, mate?
I said half of those people are FBI. Or,
Yeah, well, we got muscle in here. We got them all in here. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%.
All the opinions that you see here tonight are my own and my own only.
Yeah, I don't. But listen, for me, I'm doing the Alex Jones thing. I'm just an actor. It's all theatre. It's entertainment purposes only. Okay, don't believe in any of this stuff. You know, just leave us all alone, please. I haven't got a VPN yet.
Come get me.
Guys, we're going to leave it there. Please do like, please do subscribe. And as Nikos said, if you did enjoy the show, please also drop a comment after the video to let us know what your thoughts are.
Back me up. I feel like I'm a lone wolf here. I feel like I'm a lone wolf on this show, you know. I'm trying to like be the voice of reason, but it's hard, you know, like this part is a journey, you know.
You're not a lone voice, mate. You're not alone. Listen, we're all here to have fun. Everyone that's here listening to this, I hope the vast majority they've all got to the point where they're questioning some things, right? Good. But not everybody not everybody's in the same spot in that process. So, guys, we'll leave it there. Eugene, thank you so much, mate. And Nikos, thank you so much, buddy. Guys, please do smash the like, smash the subscribe, and we'll see you. Nikos, I know you're not around tomorrow. There is someone else. For those of you that are still in the chat, Perchy's missus, Susie. Those of you know Perchy from the football space. Perchy's missus, Susie, is apparently a raging conspiracy nut, bit like us. And so she wants to pop on. She wants to be a participant in the channel. I've got a few other people that have asked to come on as well. So we're going to be expanding the clientele of ridiculousness, and it's going to be fun. So you know what? The best thing you could do not only is hit the like and subscribe, but share it. Share it if you're into conspiracy WhatsApp groups. You lot, let people know. Let people know that we've got a bit of fun going on over here, and we'll see you. Danny, you want to come on, mate? You're more than welcome, buddy. More than welcome. Perchy pulled. Perchy's got a lovely missus. He's got a lovely missus. Guys, we'll leave it there. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.